All right, I'm back, everyone. I want to thank each and every last one of you for taking out this time, the moment in your life, um, to sit and to listen to what the Torah says. Um, the Torah is I would say our guidelines, but also too, it's like a roadmap that the Most High has left for us to be able to look at and to um, find our way back to Him. So he uses the Torah to do such a thing, to get us to stay on the right path. Prior to the Torah, we were going about a way and different ways that the Most High has never prescribed. And so when he introduced the Torah to us, he's pointing us in the direction that we should go. Usually I would teach with slides, Google Slides, and I would give you, some presentation on different words and letters in Hebrew, which I'm still going to do the Hebrew, but I want to kind of go through the Torah as the way that it's written, so there won't be any misunderstanding about what it is that we are reading, because this is important. It's the map of life for way back to the Creator. So without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. We're going to go to my favorite app that we use all the time, which gives us the Hebrew and the English, and it gives us what I would say an interpretation or a translation that helps us understand the way that it is written. So there's all different types of translations, but what we want to do is we want to focus on the translation that we have before us, and then if there's any mistranslation, I'm going to be able to look at the Hebrew and bring out what it's saying. Of course, when you're looking at the Hebrew, you're not really knowing um, what or how it's being said. And what I mean by that is simply that sometimes written in the Hebrew, you can't see how this actual verb, how this action or what was said, how it was conveyed to the people, whether it was a desire or wish or whether it was a command. And so I have the ability to look at that, to show you, how something is supposed to be understood. So our Torah portion this week is called Re'eh. Okay, Re'eh, and you see that right here on the screen. And I'll underline it for everyone so you can see what I'm talking about, just in case you don't know what I'm saying. Re'eh. Okay. This word Re'eh is found in the first line in our Torah portion, which is the first word right here. Okay. So what we have here is the Hebrew, and here is transliterated, meaning it's put into English letters in order for you to pronounce the word. Okay. So why is this important? Well, because everyone doesn't understand Hebrew. The culture that we live in, they understand English. So the first word is re'eh, right here, re'eh. And in English, translated, it means to see. Okay. Now, how something is to be done. So this, it's just saying, see, this day I'm setting before you a blessing and a curse. But we're thinking just to open up your eyes to just seeing something. And so you ask, okay, well, can you see this blessing or can you see this curse? The way that this word see or re'eh is translated and how it's conjugated is in what you would call an imperative. And it would be uh, the initials IMP underneath it, meaning an imperative. An imperative in grammar means that it's a command. Okay. So this week's Torah portion that you read A is a command. That's what an IMP is, an imperative. Okay. You can look that up on Google. IMPERATIV, imperative, which is a command. And so we have to ask ourselves the question, is the Most High commanding this or is this Moshe commanding? And from what we understand, Moshe is talking to the children of Israel. And in this part of his teaching, because it's all on this day, it happens on one day. Okay, the Hayom right here. It only happens on this one day. So the Torah is given or recited to the children of Israel on one day. Just like at the end of 7 years, he tells you to go and gather all the people. And when you do this, you're supposed to read the Torah on that one day. And from the history and from what we see in the book of Ezra and Nehemiah, we'll find that the Torah could be read and understood on one day. And that day is not talking about a 24-hour day. They give us a timeline. It said from the first part of the morning until the to the afternoon. That's a 6-hour period. So the Torah can be read and understood in 6 hours. So why is it taking us several weeks and months to go through the Torah? And the answer to that is because we don't understand it. That's the reason why it's taking us long or longer, is because we don't understand it. Right? So this is humbling. It's very telling to what our situation is. Because when they were learning the Torah, everyone, when Moshe taught them, again, he taught them on one day, all of it. He went over everything with them in this one day. So, chapter number 1 all the way to the end in chapter number 34, I believe, that's a one-day occasion. It's not several days. It's not several weeks. The individuals who are responsible for teaching the Torah are going to be from the tribe of Levi, or what they would say Lewi. And they're the ones who are authorized to teach the children of Israel the Torah. Okay. So where does that put us? Where does that put me? Well, I'm not a Leviim because I can't prove it. Okay. I'm not a priest. Can't prove it. And anyone who says that they're a priest, I want you to ask them to prove it. And they'll say, well, I understand the Torah. I understand the language. I'm calling myself Lewi. No, they're not Lewi. They have to prove it. Okay. So this leaves us in a very, interesting situation to, should you be listening to Akika? Should you be listening to others? Should you be following them? And the answer is no. No. You do not listen to me. You do not listen and obey me. You do not listen to anyone else. You and I are commanded by Moses, okay, to listen to the commandments of the Most High Yah. And when you're talking to an individual, whether it be male or female, if they're not on that page saying that you don't listen to me, but you listen to the Creator, you want to run away as far as you can from them, because they're not interested in the things of the Creator. They're only interested in themselves. Okay. All right. So I'm not setting myself apart from anyone else. I'm just like everyone else. The command to see is given from Moshe to the children of Israel on that one day. And what he said before them was what called a baraka, which is a blessing and also a curse. Okay. He says, you're going to get a blessing if you obey. That means listen and hear. Okay. To Shema, to the commandments of what they would say the eternal, which is Yohei Wahe. Okay. So if you're listening to him, then guess what? You're going to get a blessing. Okay. I've had some arguments with people because they're trying to convince me, along with other people, that they're blessed in the lands of their enemies. What you're going to find is the blessing of Yahweh is not connected to the things that you and I are receiving in these other lands. Okay. So if you have a job, that's not a blessing. That's not a blessing from Yah. But if you want to spiritualize it and you want to make yourself seem like you're deserving of it and you feel like you're really close to the Most High, then you're going to turn what they would call his mercy into what you would say a blessing. This blessing right here is connected to the land. Okay. Directly connected to the land. And so the commandments, again, are directly connected to the land. They are. They're not connected to any other land. They're connected to the land that Most High promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In Hebrew, it's Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. last week I forgot to share with you about those names, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. I forgot to do that. But today I want you to see, okay, what they mean. So Avraham, he's the father of the nations, okay, more specifically, the Shemitic nations, okay. So he is the high father. He's the one who's been lifted high, okay. He's the highest, okay. The Yitzchak's name is dealing with laughter, okay. So Isaac, his name means laughter, okay. That's what his name means. It's laughter. That's what Isaac's name. In Hebrew, his name is Yitzchak. His name means to laugh. Uh, so what do we have? We have laughter. Okay. So to laugh. And so remember laughter. So anytime you hear Isaac or Yitzchak is talking about laughter. Okay. To laugh at something. Okay. And Jacob, or what they would call Yaakov. Yaakov's name means to prevail. Okay. Or because. Like last week, we learned about a cave, and a cave means because. Okay. So when the Most High was dealing with Abraham, and he told them that I'm going to give you land and descendants, Abraham asked the question, well, how is that possible? Because he couldn't see it. Okay. How is that possible? And he said, you're going to have a son. And he said, well, how do I know that? And when he told him this, he said, Sarah's going to have a son. And she's going to have this son, and his name is going to be called Yitzchak. And Abraham laughed at the fact that the Most High told him this. He laughed at it because he thought it's impossible. He laughed at it because he couldn't see it. Okay. And so then after they had Isaac, then they had Jacob, and Jacob means because. Okay. So the heart of everything of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is because Jacob, because Abraham, he laughed. Avraham, okay, the father of many, okay, the lifted up father, the high father, okay. In his name, Avraham, you have the word Ram, and that means to lift up. Av is father, and Ham means a people. Okay, so the lifted father of the peoples. Because the lifted up father of the peoples, he laughed. And because of this, Yah is doing everything that he's doing. So there's a story behind Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So every time you see it in the Torah, where he's mentioning, I'm doing this because, you know, I'm doing this because of your fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Or remember that I promised to give the land to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. I'm going to remember, the creator said, I'm going to remember the covenant of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, your fathers. And what Yah is remembering is that our father laughed at what the Most High said because he could not see it. He laughed at it. He thought it was impossible. And the Most High asked the question all the time. And when Sarah found out that she was going to have a child, she laughed. So it's not just Sarah laughed, they both laughed at the fact of what they couldn't see. And because of this, the Most High is doing what he's doing. He's showing that what may seem impossible to you, right? And what you're laughing at, what we're laughing at, Yah says, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you. Every time we were about to be killed, Moshe mentioned Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So it's not just about the covenant that was made, it was the terms and it was the circumstances that surrounded the covenant. I hope this makes sense. Okay. So here, when we're dealing with the Torah, we need to understand that we are to see something. Okay. We don't just supposed to read, you're supposed to see. You and I are not supposed to believe. You and I are commanded to see. So when we think, well, God didn't give this command, Moshe gave the command Torah A. So we don't have to believe Moses because it's not from Elohim. Well, that's where you and I are mistaken. Everything that Moshe told us, okay, literally was from the Creator. Everything. And we have to put our confidence in that. And that's what he's talking about. So the blessings, again, are not connected to any other land. They're only connected to our land. And he says, when you do these blessings, if you do what Yah says, you follow the commandment. So commandment and blessing are connected of Yahweh your Elohim that I enjoy unto you this day, and the curse if you do not obey the commandments. Okay. So you'll get one if you listen, you get the blessings, and you get a curse. Okay. The curse that he's talking about is this word right here. Okay. We don't hear, and of course, I'm going to have to explain to you what this means. Okay. The curse is these three letters right here, and I'll make it a little larger for you to see. That's a kof, and then the next one is a lamed, and then the next one is a lamed. Okay. These first two letters right here, from reading from right to left, meaning from this direction, because in Hebrew, you don't read from here to here, this direction. You're reading from this direction. Okay. You're reading from right to left. So these two letters, which this one here, it'll be your first letter right here. Okay. That letter right there means to gather. Okay. So let's deal with it a little bit at a time. This letter right here is right here. Let me see. Let me clear it up so I don't get you confused. This letter right here, okay, which is right here. This letter right here means to gather. That's what that letter means, to gather, okay? In the ancient Hebrew, it's a circle and has a line through it. And what it means is the sunrise, right? So above the line is where the sun has come up, and then when the sun goes down, so it's making like a what they would call, it's a evolution, or it's revolution. It's going around, right? And it goes from one end to the next. And so what this is talking about is when the sunlight is gathering, and you would call that dawn, when the sun is, or dusk, when the sun is going down, right, to the other side. So it might start on the east, and then it goes and it sets on the west, okay? And it goes into darkness, and right here, it's in darkness, and then it comes up, and then it comes up again on the morning, which we call light. Okay. So it's a cycle. And so what happens is that the light gathers itself. So it exposes itself in the morning. And then all of a sudden, when the light starts going around over the day, at the end of the day, when it sets on the west, it's gathering itself to go into darkness. And then it comes back out of its darkness. Okay. So what does that mean for us? Okay. Listen to me very, very carefully. Okay. If this letter here means to go in a circle, okay, that's what it means. And here's a line to give your horizon. And it means, and maybe I should put it in a different color so it can really make sense to us. Okay, yeah, let me do that. I'm going to put it in the sun because that's what it is. And then I'm going to put the horizon in a different color so you'll know when the sun is up and when the sun is going down. Okay, all right. The sun never stops being the sun. It's just sometimes you can see it and sometimes you can't. Okay. So here it is. This is what this letter means. And this is the first letter of the word curse. Okay. So when you look at this picture graph on your right hand side, it means that there's light that is available to you. Okay. Just like right now, if you look outside, depending on where you are in the world, there's light. Okay. There's light where you can see it. And then after time, after the light rises from right in this place right here, this is when the sun comes up in the morning. Okay. That's the morning. When the sun starts traveling from one end of the earth to the next end of the earth, you have light that whole time. The moment that it goes down to the horizon, they call that the beginning of the evening right here. Let me put this right here. This is where the Erev is. This is where it starts changing. Okay. And so once it starts changing, the sun then goes into a cycle and I'm gonna put it in a different color, of darkness. And then you can't see it. Okay. So right now you see sunlight, certain time after that, it goes into darkness. So why would the Most High use this letter or this symbol about gathering of light? So if light is gathered, it means that it's coming to an end, right? Just like the sun, it has a cycle. You'll see it and then you don't see it. The curse is only going to last for so long. That's the purpose of the curse. The curse is not forever for us. It's not always going to go in a cycle over and over and over again. It actually has to come to its end. So if the curse starts right here, just like the sun rises and it comes down, it's going to come a time where you're not going to have to deal with the light. You're not going to see the light. That means you're not going to see the curse after a certain period of time. Okay, because now everything is going through its cycle. So the best part of all this is the Most High is revealing to us that your curse, your qualal, is only temporary. It's not forever. You're not forever a cursed people, and you should remember this because in your Torah portion of Balak, you saw that he wanted to curse Israel. He wanted Balaam to curse Israel, and the Most High said, "Remember, I didn't allow him to curse you. I didn't allow him to curse you. So you're not a cursed people. You're just going through the cycle of a curse right now. Okay. So that's the first letter. The second letter is this letter Lamed right here, right? This L looks like an L right here. That's the shepherd staff. So right here, what these two letters mean, gather to the staff. Okay. Gather to the staff. Okay. First letter is to gather, like we talked about, how the sun gathers its light at the end of the day. The next letter right here, the Lamed, one that you see right here, is a staff, which means authority. Okay, that's what a staff means. The staff goes with the shepherd. Okay, and the shepherd is using the staff in order to guide the people. Okay, that's what it's used for. And the staff represents authority. Okay, that's what it means, authority. And so the Most High's authority is his words. Okay, listen to me carefully. I'm explaining to you what is written. So when we read it, we're not just going through it real fast. That's what religious people do. That's what people do when they don't understand what's written. See, so when you look on the left-hand side, you see all this, you just think you get a curse if you don't listen. But that's not the full story. The story is that curse has a time period on it, like seasons. Spring and winter and fall, all it comes and it goes for us. So nothing with us is permanent. You understand? So looking at that next letter and it's doubled. So you have two lameds. Okay. So I'm going to erase everything so I can clear it up so I don't confuse you. So you can get a little bit of information at a time. So we know that the staff means authority. Okay. I'm going to erase everything. And we're going to start again. And I'm going to make it a little bit larger. Okay. And so you can't do this when you have slides because you can't break it down. Here you go. All right. So we're going to work right here. All right. So this is the letters that we're dealing with right here. Okay. So we know this means gather. This means authority and leadership. So when you put them together, it means gather to the authority, gather to the leadership, gather to that being brought together. Okay. But also in Hebrew, this word in English is called cold. Okay. It could be cold, and it's also called call. Okay. Kol in Hebrew, which are these two, we put a little dot right here, is kol. Okay. The Q is this first letter, and the L is this letter right here. Okay. That's why you call kol or call. Okay. Now, what does kol mean? So if he's talking about curse, what he's talking about is the reason why you're cursed is because you didn't listen to Yahweh's voice. What is Yahweh's voice? What's the voice according to what we're reading? He said, if you would tishmu, if you would listen to what? These are the commandments. So people are saying that you don't hear Yahweh's voice and Yah's not speaking to us. They do not know what they're talking about. Okay. They say that the Old Testament is done away with. They do not know what they're talking about. Okay. The voice of Yah, everyone, is Yahweh's commandments. It's his commands. Okay. Up to this point in chapter number 11, the Most High has never begun to tell anyone through Moses the commandments yet. He doesn't begin to share the commandments to review them on that day until we get to chapter number 12. So chapter number 1 all the way to 11 was giving them a warning and telling them, hey, this is why you guys were acting. The Most High spoke to you, yada, yada, yada. You didn't listen. You rebelled. Do you remember this time? Do you remember the golden calf? Do you remember this, and that? He's telling everything that happened in the wilderness. So he hasn't covered any commandments. So write that in your notes that the commandments don't begin until chapter number 12, that he's going to review with them. Okay. And what are the commandments? The commandments is Yah's voice. Okay. Because the word voice in Hebrew is call. Okay. You said, well, you got call here too. A different verb right here, which is a sound versus a O sound. Okay. So what's the difference? The letters are still the same. You still got a Q here and you got a Q here. You got an L here and you got an L here. You got a Q here and you got an L here. So what's the difference? What's the difference between call and call? Well, call is voice, and call is a grammatical term that tells you how the voice is being used. Call in Hebrew, and look it up if you want to on Google, in the Hebrew grammar, it means to be done in a very simple way. Simple, plain, okay? So when Yah's telling us about him talking to us, he's talking to us in a very simple way. Very, very simple way. The commandments of Yah are done in a very simple way. When Yah is speaking to his people through his commandments, he's not making it difficult. He's not making it hard so you and I can't keep it. He actually makes it so easy, okay, that you should be able to understand it. But the way that we are as human beings and his people, we want to take what he said and we want to make it difficult. So, for example, no matter what he said about the Sabbath day, we're going to add our own 2 cents to what he said in order to justify our existence of being the children of Israel. So what we'll say, he'll say, hey, when you do the Sabbath, make sure you bring me an offering. We'll say, well, when we're in exile, we're keeping and guarding the Sabbath. No, you're not keeping and guarding the Sabbath. You're remembering the Sabbath. But you only remember the Sabbath by remembering the commandments. The only time you and I are obedient to what Yah is saying is when we're listening to what his voice has said, which is the commandments. If he says the commandment can be kept in the land, then that's where the commandment is supposed to be kept, in the land. You and I can listen to Yah. That's what he's been asking us to do. Listen to what I'm saying to you. So when he says, Moshe says, he's saying, open your eyes and look at what I'm setting before you. Okay. And then we go into Deuteronomy later on in our Torah portion. You'll find he said it's not too hard for you to do this. Yah has actually written it down in your heart so you can do it, but you're making it difficult. You understand? We're making it so difficult. And when we add that difficulty to it, that means that you and I are adding to what the Most High said, or we're subtracting from what the Most High said in order to justify ourselves in front of the Most High, to prove to him that we're obedient. So whatever we need to do to shape, move, manipulate, contour, craft, whatever, in order for him to say that he's going to accept us is when we change what he said because we don't understand it. We want to make it difficult. Okay. That's a problem. So when the Most High is talking about this, and that's why it's important for us to go over this so you and I can both understand that what he's talking about, when he says the curse, he's saying you're going to be under this curse. And the reason why you're under this curse is because you didn't listen to my voice. Okay. This here, kalal, is also used, and I'll put it up again a little bit larger for you to see it. This kalal has two staffs in it. That means it's double. That means it's a problem. Okay. Anytime you see two letters together, they're twins. That means there's great emphasis on it. Okay. So when he's talking about which the root of it is his voice or a voice. So when you're not listening to the Most High's voice, okay, that you're not accepting the authority of the Most High. Okay. This same word is used with parents and their children. It said if a child is not listening to you and he curses his mother or father, not I'm swearing at you, calling you out your name. It means that when I speak to you as a parent, you are so swift and quick with my voice. That means that I say something, you just blow it off and say, yeah, okay, whatever. So kalal means swift. That means to be light, because when it's something light, it's swift, it's not heavy. So you're not considering what I'm saying with weight and gravity. That means that you believe what I just said was light in terms of weight. So it doesn't have any weightiness to it. It's like a feather versus a piece of iron or steel. It's like a piece of grass versus carrying a bush. So Yah's telling us that the curse that you're under is temporary, but it's only because you didn't listen to my voice. It's because when I spoke to you through the commandments, you treated them lightly. You're quick to move away from what I told you. They mean nothing to you. Okay? The punishment for a child to consider what their mother or father has said and to treat them lightly is to be put to death. That's what we're going to learn, or that's what we have learned through our Torah portions. So if you're put to death for treating your mother or your father's words lightly, hey, go do the dishes. Oh, well, I'll do it when I want to. Hey, I need you to be in the house at this time. Yeah, okay, and you show up later. Hey, I need you to guard your body and your virginity because I want you to have children in the right way, and you go out, you get pregnant outside of what your mother and father said. You're supposed to be put to death for that, according to Yahweh's law. Okay? Understand what's being said here. Okay? Mother and father tell you that you need to sit down and learn the Torah. Guess what you say? Yeah, whatever. You think he's talking about a child who's at the age, who's under 18 years old, and those are the only people that are the children of their parents? No. As long as your mother and father are on the face of this earth and they tell you something, you better not treat what they said lightly. Yah says that person needs to be removed out of the camp and by the act of being put to death. Okay? So there's a high penalty for this. Okay? So listen to this. So instead of Yahweh immediately killing everyone, but as he has said in his last couple of Torah portions that he was going to destroy you, right? Yah has put the kolal in there. He's put the curse in there, which again is temporary, okay? And it was because never have you ever listened. And that's not just you as an individual, as you, plurality, the people have never listened, Shema to Yahweh, okay? Why? Why is that the case? Because they didn't listen to the commandment. So the commandment is what's in question. The curse is for the commandment. You understand? And so, hey, if you don't obey the commandments of Yahweh your Elohim, but you turn away from the path. So what is the path? The path is the commandments. You turn away from the path. You Vasartem, you have turned away and got off of the path. What path? The path that Yah has prescribed for you to follow. The path that Yah told you and I to follow, along with our ancestors, are the path that includes the commandments. And it is, and I want to remind us, it is the ancient path. Okay? That's in the book of Isaiah. At the end of the teaching today, I will show you that if you do not follow this path, you will never find salvation. If you're not following, and what I mean by following is getting on the path. What path? The path of the commandments. That's the only way that you're going to get out of this, because you will listen to the call of Yahweh. See? And so when you listen to the call, the voice of Yahweh, Yahweh removes the other staff, the kolal. So when you and I are listening to the Most High, he says, I'll reverse your curses. Yahweh's in the process of reversing our curses. You understand? He's reversing the curses while you are in your exile. So things begin to get a little bit better for you, like he said. He'll cause the people to start having compassion on you. Yahweh will start letting things kind of work out better for you. Your mind will start getting changed. Your thought process will start changing. Your diet will start changing. Your family life, your dynamic will change. Your relationship begins to change with the Most High and with others. Your marriage begins to change when you guys are following what the Most High said. When the children start obeying what Yah said, then everything begins to start to change. So why would Yah put the curse in here? He'll put it in here to ensure that you and I have an opportunity to return back to the Most High. The other path that he's talking about is you're following other gods. And he said, whom you have not known. They have the word experience, which I strongly agree with this interpretation, or what they would say translation that the author here has given. Here in Hebrew, it talks about yadatim. And yadatim means to know. Pull it right here. When he tells me to yadatim, he's talking about you do. Over here. Doesn't want to highlight. Let me see. Right there. Boom. To know. Right hand side. That's yada. Again, does the Most High want you to believe? No. What does the Most High want you to know? He wants you to have an experience with him, and you only get that through learning. And learning, again, has to do with the staff, which goes to being guided into what? The path. Because the staff is used for the shepherd to guide the sheep. So when Yah says that I need you to gather to my staff, what he's talking about is you need to listen to my voice. The staff is not operating on its own. The staff, in our case, has a gather in front of it. Gather to the staff. Gather to the voice of Yah. When the shepherd was to call his sheep, they would listen to his voice and they would obey him. He said, it's time to go. Let's go. And he would then they would follow him, and they would follow him on the path that he had what? Prescribed. So when you talk about you know Yah, that means that you're learning from Yahweh. That means that you have perception. And if you see here in the definitions of knowing, you actually have seen it. So knowing means seeing? Yes. How do you know this? Because the last letter of the word yada right here is an ayin. I'll make it bigger for you to see. It means eye. That's the eye that you have inside of your head. Yah doesn't expect you to believe nothing. He wants you to know. So how do you learn about Yah? How are we supposed to learn from him? How are we supposed to find out or discern or distinguish? Is through walking on that road. And when you and I are on this path, we begin to know the Most High by our experiences. We're going on the path and returning back to Yah, and he's showing us everything that we've done and everything our ancestors have done. So you and I will know what? I'm not in the land. Then if you know something, that means you perceive it. That means you see it. Hey, you see now. You should know. that you are not in the land. You should know that you don't have any blessing because you're not in your land. But if you want to be a religious person who follows after other gods, then you're going to say that the Most High has blessed you. You're going to say that while you're in the land of your enemies, the Yah has blessed you. So are you listening to Yahweh's voice? No, you're not. If you're coming up with your own rules and regulations, are you listening to Yahweh's voice? No, you're not. If you're saying that you're keeping something that Yah says you're not keeping, then are you listening to Yah? No, you're not. Are you learning from Yah? No, you're not. How do you know that you're obeying Yah? When you say what Yah said. You and I do not need anyone to teach you this. You know it. A child knows when they're doing wrong. You don't have to say anything to them. They know their actions are wrong. We're acting like the Most High didn't give us the ability to discern when something is right or something is wrong. You're acting like you and I don't have eyes to see. Like you can't see the curses. They're not that, they're not apparent. So, obviously you see something I can't see. No, you don't see it because you don't want to see it. You don't see it because you don't want to learn. So people who don't want to learn, they don't want to know. Because learning means to know. So what they do is instead of learning, what they want to do is believe. Instead of learning and reading, right, and understanding and discerning, what they're going to do is believe. That's what they're going to do. And the reason why they're going to believe is because the people that they live among and the people that they follow, these other gods that they follow, tells them not to know, but tells them to believe. Believe that I am He. And if you don't, you're going to hell. Believe that I was sent by God to die for your sins. Believe that. And if you don't believe it, then you're going to die in your sins. You see? So in the Torah is not about belief, people. The Torah is about learning. And I'm not talking to you in a way, I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm no better than you. It's for all of us to learn and to understand that the other gods that we are around and that we have followed, that we have called upon their names, have taught you and I not to know, not to actually have an experience, because they don't want you to know nothing. What they want you to do is believe. They want you to believe in something that you've never seen before. And that's not what we're dealing with. Because the Torah is not for believers. The Torah is for doers. The Torah is for people that know. Okay? It's Yadatim. Okay? Because our Elohim is one that He wants to be known. And He said, how are you going to know me? Through learning and through the commandments. Okay? So this is what it's all about. I had some places where, He talked about where these blessings and cursings are going to be. He says, put them on Mount Gerizim and put them on Mount Ebal. I do have some other texts to show you that happened. And I don't know if I have enough time to go over it today because there's a lot that I want to cover. I'm just kind of figuring out where we should go to stay in alignment with everything that the Most High is talking about. So Moshe is commanding all this, and he's telling them, like, look, you got to be careful to guard what I'm telling you. And obviously, in the last verse of 32 of 11, he told them that you got to follow, you got to guard these things. Okay. He said observe, but he's really talking about you need to ushamartim. You need to guard what I'm telling you to do. All of the hakukim and the et mishpatim. And again, this et right here is an arrow pointing directly to what I'm telling you, which I am giving to you. I'm giving it to you on this day, not on a month, on that in particular day. Okay. So that's chapter 12. He says the first thing he said was this: these are the laws and the rules that you must carefully what? Observe. No, guard. You need to guard them. Where? In the land. So the laws and the rules are not for the nations. They're for that land that the eternal Yahweh Elohim of your ancestors, who's your ancestors? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is giving you to possess as long as you live on earth. So why is He giving us the land? Because I promised it, He said, to your ancestors. What are you supposed to do in that land? You're supposed to do the laws and the rules that I'm telling you to do today in that land. So why would Yah mention this to us? Why do we, is this a roadmap for us to get back? Yes, it is. What is trying to tell you? Trying to make it obvious that you can see that I'm not in my land. That's the reason why you can't keep the laws and statutes and commandments the way that he said. And when you and I try to replace the law, statutes, and commandments and doing what we want to do, then you're not keeping the law and the statutes and commandments. You're disrespecting the Creator. So he gives them a whole bunch of things to do. He says, hey, when you get there, destroy all the sites and the nations which you're going to dispossess. Destroy all the sites, all the places where they're involved in our idolatry, where they worship their gods. I need you to dispossess them, okay? On the mountains, the hills, and under every luxuriant tree. Did he tell you and I to come to the nations and just destroy their gods? Are we commanded to go to the nations where you and I are right now to get rid of their altars?
Nope.
No. No. Did he tell you to come here and destroy their religion and their gods? Did he tell you to tear down their crosses, tear down their altars, tear down their little tables of remembrance and eat my body and drink my blood? Did he tell you to do anything like that here?
No, absolutely
No.
not.
And I wonder why. Because he doesn't care about what's going on in these lands right now. They're not his land. Obviously, he sent us here to worship their gods. Akika, you're making that up. You're making it up. Tear down their altars, smash their pillars, put down their sacred posts, to the fire, cut down the images of their gods, obliterating their name from under that site in the land. Don't worship the eternal Elohim in that manner. So he's saying, don't, when you guys get into this land, and I told you, you got to get rid of all this stuff because when you get there, things are going to change. Things are going to change. Okay. And this is the key. This is very key in terms of this chapter, in chapter number 12, is dealing with this part here. It told you, but look only to the site that Yahweh, your Elohim, will choose in the midst of all the tribes of Elohim's habitation to establish the divine name there. There you are to go. So you're not supposed to be on every hill and every mountain. So if you're not supposed to go on every hill and mountain, and you're not supposed to go to every undergreen tree in that land, then why would you think that when you're in your enemy's lands that you can go anywhere else that you want to go, and then where you are, you can say that you're worshiping Yahweh? He says, Ki im el lahamakom. You're only to go to the hamakom. That is the place. Okay. And the place hamakom right here is the word kum right here. That means to rise, to lift up. So he says that he will choose Yivkar, the Most High has chosen. Yahweh has chosen Elohim from all of your tribes. You got to go to that place where he has set his name, the Lasum after the Shemo Sham, right here. His name there, where he dwells. Where he dwells. Yahweh dwells in a certain place. Okay? Now, let's see if you and I are going to break the commandment. Lashikno. Right? The Lashikno there, everyone, is telling you and I that there's a place that Yahweh dwells. And he says, I'm going to put my name there. Okay? So let's ask ourselves this question. There on your right-hand side, I just highlighted it for you. It's called the Shakain. Okay? It's the dwelling. So does Yahweh dwell among the nations?
Absolutely not.
No. So where are you at?
Among the nations.
So is Yahweh with you?
No, he's not
No,
dwelling
he's
among
not.
us.
Are you and I worshiping Yahweh?
No, not
No.
correctly.
We're not worshiping Yah. Okay? So let's get that understood today. Okay? By what he said. He wants us to see that. So why are you being abusive, Akika? That'd be the question. Why are you trying to tear the people down when you're saying they're not worshiping Yah? Well, let's see what Yah says. Akika didn't say, let's see what Yah says. Did Yah say that you're worshiping him? Let's look at it. chapter number 19 of the book of Jeremiah. And when they asked, because of what did the eternal our Elohim do to all these things? Let me give you a little bit more context. This is a prophetic declaration that the Most High has made. He says, but even in those days, declared right there is prophetic called a Nahum right here. He says, he's declaring this, that I will not make an end of you. Okay. So that's how he opens this up to say, I'm not going to make an end of you. But they're going to ask, the people are going to ask, because of what did the eternal our Elohim do all these things? What things? And he's going to tell you what things he's talking about. He said, you shall answer them because you, okay, and that you right there is plural. Okay, you, Israel, forsook me, and you served alien gods on your own land. You will have to serve foreigners in a land not your own. Got it? You served other gods in your own land, which you and I saw in our Torah portion, he told them not to do. So you're in your exile, Israel, because you forsook Yahweh. You and I did. We forsook him. And you need to admit that. And you need to say that. What do you mean you forsook him? Well, he's blessing me while I'm in my exile. No, he's not. He's being merciful. Blessings go to the land. You're serving other gods that you served while you were in your own land. So why would he send you to serve strangers? Because the strangers have alien gods. So as a punishment for abandoning Yah and forsaking him, he said, I'm going to send you to a land that's not your own. And you're going to serve foreigners. And the foreigners that you and I are serving right now, they don't serve Yahweh. They do not serve Yahweh. They do not worship Yahweh. They worship their gods. Okay? And how do you know this? How do you know that this is the case? Well, let's continue to read right quick, and then we'll go on to finding in our Torah portion. Okay? He says this, proclaim to the house of Jacob. Get rid of this. And announce it in Yehuda. Hear this, O foolish people. Some texts even say that you and I are stupid. He said, you're a stupid people. You're a foolish people. Not only you're a set apart people, you're a foolish people. You're dumb. Why? Because you don't have any intelligence. Okay, our Torah portion is called A, meaning to see. You have eyes, but you can't see. And who are you declaring this to, Yah? He's declaring it to the house of Jacob. The whole entire household. Not just, he's announcing it in Yehuda, but he's talking to the whole family. All of you are a foolish people, and you're devoid of intelligence. Okay? You have eyes, but you can't see. What is it that we can't see, Yahweh? He says they have ears, but you can't hear. So we can't see. That means we're blind. And he says you can't hear. That means you're deaf. Because if you did have eyes, you did have ears, you would listen to the commandment of the Most High. You would have listened, but I didn't. So he says to ask the question, well, should you not revere me? Meaning, should you not fear me? Says Elohim, Yahweh. Should you not tremble before me? And of course, he says this in a Nahum state again. It's a prophetic declaration again to tell you that this is not speaking about just that time. He's telling you the time to come. So our fear is going to happen when the real fear, not the verbal fear. Oh, I fear Yahweh. No, the real fear that we're going to have and that Yah's going to put in us is going to happen the way it happened at Mount Sinai. Should you not revere me? Should you not fear me? No'um Yahweh, says Yahweh. Huh? Prophetically, should you not tremble before me? When are you going to tremble? When are you and I going to tremble? When this fear comes upon us. Huh? Who set the sanctuary, set the sand as a boundary to the sea, as the limit for all time, not to be transgressed. Meaning, though it has waves tossed, they cannot prevail. They may roar, but they can't pass it. But yet, this people, what's wrong with this people? Us. What's wrong with you? You're wayward. Okay? That wayward right there is Haya. You exist a heart, a mind. Your mind and our minds as a people, okay, have been wayward. Wayward in what way? That you have so rare. That right there means you've turned aside and you have gone your own way. You yeleku. That yeleku right there means that you have walked, lived, lak. You have lived the way that you want to. Okay, so here's the deal. When you look at this word right here, the key word in there is, or letter is this lamed. That means a shepherd's staff. Again, the ka right here, they got it in a small form, right? Just this letter right here. That letter right there means the palm of the hand. So instead of you taking the staff in your palm, you take the staff in your own palm. Okay, and you're going to go your way. I want you to see what he's saying. Okay, you're taking the staff, which means your own authority. And then the ka right here means you in the palm. So when you got a staff in the palm, you're walking. So when you're turning away from Yah, you're walking away from Yah. And how do you walk away from Yah? If you're not walking with Yah, and you're not on the path that Yah told you, you begin to walk after someone else. So anything that you and I are doing that's not according to the commandment means that you're walking your own way. And the way that you're walking is not Yahweh's way. And if it's not Yahweh's way, then it's the way of somewhere else. So if you're not walking with Yah and you're not keeping the commandment of Yah and you're going after what you want to go after, you are walking after another God. Because it's Yahweh's authority. Remember, let me put the qual here again. It's his voice. See? So I could take that letter and put that right there. And if you don't listen to his voice, Yah says, I'm going to put the kalal on you. I'm going to make you light in stature. Because that means a curse right here. That means to be swift in life. Remember I told you if your child don't listen to you and they curse you, they consider what you're saying as light and swift and quick. So it means that you're insignificant. You'll fly away. There's no problem, right? To be swift with someone or to treat what they're saying lightly. So because of what we have done, the curse that Yah's talking about is that you will not be esteemed. You're going to be treated lightly. And you're going to be treated lightly among the nations. Why? Because you decided to have a mind. See the lamed again? That means the authority, and the bet right here is inside. Hebrew, that means your mind, the inner authority. So your inner authority is one that's contrary and wayward. Your mind is wayward. And the only way that your mind can be wayward is if you're not listening and you're defiant against walking in the path that God told you to walk, which is according to the commandment. And I can see why people say we want to keep the commandment and we're going to try our very best because they're trying to prove to Elohim that they're on his way, which they're still missing the point. If you and I are listening to Yahweh's voice, we're not going to add or subtract from what he has said. He has said what he said to let you know that you're not in your land, to let us know you have broken my commandments, to let us know that you don't fear me, to let us know that I'm going to have the nations treat you like you're nothing, to let us know that your mind is wayward towards what I said. That's why you're being treated the way that you are right now, is because of that behavior. And that type of behavior is what causes you to turn aside from what? From the path that Yah told you. And you're going your own way, which means you're following after another God. Because everyone right now is not living unto themselves. It's either two camps. Either you're with Yahweh's camp or you're not with Yahweh's camp. If you're not with Yahweh's camp, you're against Yahweh. If you're not following the commandment, you're against Yahweh. Well, I keep the Sabbath. If you're saying you're keeping it the way he said and you're not, you're against him. Hard message. Well, I'm trying my best. And we just got to do our best. We're in exile. You're going against the commandment. He's not bringing the commandment to our attention to say that you're going to be able to keep it in the exile. That's why he says you're stupid people because you're not listening. You're not opening your eyes to see where you are. Well, I eat clean food. No, you don't. He said, while you're in the lands of your enemies, the bread that you're going to eat is defiled. Go look at Ezekiel when he told him, go eat this bread. Go make it with human dung. Oh, I can't do it, Yahweh. Never, nothing unclean has ever entered my mouth. He says, do it because, okay, I'll let you do the cow dung and cook it and bake it and then have the smell go up and then you eat it. Because the children of Israel, while they're in their exile, their bread is going to be polluted. So if your bread is polluted while you're in exile, you have no priesthood, you're kalal, you're cursed, and you're in the land of your enemies, and you're serving strangers, and you are worshiping their gods. Well, how are you worshiping their gods? Because you serve their people. Because when you want time off, you have to go ask them. When you want to go get food, you can't go to your garden to go pick up anything. You have no basket to offer anybody. You have no tithes. You have no offerings. You have no wealth. You have the strangers and the widows and the fatherless are all suffering right now of our people because we're not in our land. You and I have forsaken the Levite. That's why you're in exile, because there are no Levites right now. So let's open up our eyes and let's start perceiving and let's start understanding that all this has happened because you and I have been stupid and we have turned away from Yah. Okay? And it said umore, saru. Okay? So what is more? Because that was in our Torah portion. It says, aren't you going to cross the oaks of Moreh? Right? So let's find out what Moreh is. You're going your own way, right? So what is Moreh? Somebody tell me, what is a Moreh? I'll click on it right here so all of us can see it. What's a Moreh? Look what that is. It comes from the root to yara, what is to throw or to shoot or to cast, where you get your word Torah from. Okay? That's what it means. It means to point someone in a certain direction. That's what it means. Amore is a teacher. Okay? That's why you have the letters More. That means teaching right here. That's what that means. Yora means to point and to direct someone. The Saru right here means that you've turned away and you're going where you want to go. That's what you've doing. Okay? From our word sur, to turn aside and depart. Okay? So this is the reason why we're in a situation we're in today, is because we didn't want to listen. We turned our own minds. Why? Because they never said to themselves, let us fear Yahweh. They never said it. They never said, let us fear Yahweh. Put your device on mute for me. Thank you. Never said it. Okay? They never said this. So what does it mean to fear Yahweh? They never said in their hearts, let's fear Yahweh. Let us fear Yahweh. What do you mean to fear Yahweh? Let's do what he says. Because Yahweh is the one who gives the rain. He gives the early and the late rain in the season, who keeps for our benefit the weeks appointed for harvest. In chapter number 16, you found out all the set apart times that the men are supposed to show up, Sukkot, Pesach, Matzah, Shavuot. All those have to do with the land. All of our Moedims have to do with the land. But because we didn't fear Yahweh and because we didn't listen to what he says, Yah says, I'm going to get rid of the rain. When I get rid of the rain, then you won't have your seasons. You will not have any benefit, which is the blessing. You will not have a harvest, which is your blessing from the work of your hands. Okay? It is in your iniquities that you've diverted these things is because of your sins. Your sins have withheld the bounty, the good that you're supposed to have. So our work, our labor for our hands has to do with our land. When we do what's right, the same word as for teaching is the same word as for rain, because the rain is shot in a direction where the Most High wants it to go. Yare, that's the rain going in the direction he wants it to go. Sometimes he'll make the rain go in this direction on this land. Sometimes he may have it go over here in this part of the world. Okay. But here, the Most High is talking about his land. It is your iniquities that has with diverted these things. What? The benefits. You and I are not benefited. The work that you're doing right now is in the land of your enemies. And you will not prosper in the land of your enemies according to what Yah has directed as a blessing for you and I. Period. And then he goes on to talk about among my people are found evildoers. And what they're doing is they're laying in wait to catch you. And they're trapping people like they do birds. Why? Because they're lying to the people. They're telling the people that you can get whatever you need to get outside of the Most High. And that's not the case. Going back now to our Torah portion, I want to end on chapter number 13 since we have about an hour left. Let's deal with the fact of what the Most High said in this final part of chapter number 12, where he says, you shall not act as we all act now here, everyone as they please. Okay. And what it's saying in Hebrew is you shall not do what you're doing today. You're not going to do what you're doing today. Anak nuosim, that's what we are doing today. All in which you're doing today, you can't do. Here, on this day, you can't do what you're doing today. Every man of all what he thinks is upright in his own eyes. It don't tell you nothing about his eyes. It says in how they please, but the word for eyes is used right here. So our Torah portion is about the A, which is to see. So again, the eyes are being used, okay? And I'll click on it so you'll know that Akika is telling us the truth. That, hey, what do you mean as you please? How you see it. See, so what he's talking about, you right now, when they were out in the wilderness, they were doing what they wanted to do. While you're in the lands of your enemies, you're doing what you want to do. And you're thinking what you're doing, look on the right-hand side, ayin. So you're learning Hebrew at the same time that I'm talking to you and teaching you. So here it is, I. That letter right there means I. The word is called ayin. A-Y-I-N. That means I. Okay. So the eye Yah has given us is to see. It is to perceive. It's the physical eye, but it's also to what they would call the mental qualities that one should have. And it's also a word or letter that's used to indicate to have actual experience and to know something. You can't know something without seeing it. Okay. So the way that they were operating and working in the wilderness was how they were seeing it, how they want to do it. Okay. The Ta'asun right here is what they do. Look at the right-hand side of the screen, how they fashioned it, how they want to accomplish things. So he's telling them the way that you guys been operating, you can't do that. Not when you get to the land. Because you're doing what you think is right in your own eyes. Okay? That's what we're doing. Just like right now. People are doing what they think is right. Okay? Reading the Torah, studying the Torah, learning Hebrew, that has nothing to do with what someone's doing. We're learning. I ain't asking nobody to do something that the Most High ain't never said. I'm asking us to learn. What did he say? Okay. So he's telling us that he wants us to see you can't do what you think is right. Okay. The Hayashar right here. Okay. The Hayashar, and it's looking the word up. Well, I put it right here. Yashar. Let me see. That word right there means straight and upright and correct. So you think what you're doing is correct. You think what you're doing is upright. He says, you can't do that, what you think is right. Why? Because you're dealing with the Creator. Hayashar means, and there's a couple of letters in here that I should bring to our attention. Okay, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. The yod right there means he. Okay. The next letter is the sheen. Okay. And then the next one means two teeth, meaning press. And the next one's a R in Hebrew, call it Yashar. You might hear it called, some people say the word Jasher, right? They got the book Jasher. That means upright, but it's really called Yashar. Okay. Within this word Ashar or Yashar, you got the word Ashar. Okay. You can put an aleph in front of it instead of a yod, you just replace it with an aleph and you put Ashar or Asher. Okay. Or Ashrei. This word here can mean happy. It can mean someone who's happy, and it can mean someone who's, and then if I switch it around, I'm gonna put a Sha'ir, switch the letters and put the aleph in the middle. Sha'ar, that could be a family relative. I can then turn this word right here, the same letters, and I could just reverse them and put the sheen first, and then I could put the yod second, and then I could put the R sheer after that, and it's called a song. So what's the connection? Okay. What does Yashar really mean? Yashar means someone who's living a life in a straight way, in a very upright way, in a very correct way. Okay. And as Yahweh's people, you and I have to understand that the only correct and right way to do something is according to the commandment. Let me say it one more time. It's not what Akika says. It's not what anyone says. It's not what your mama said. It's not what your pastor said. It's not what any moray says. It's what did Yahweh say. If you live your life in a way that Yah says, then it's a correct way. He wants you and I to live in a way that's correct, according to the path that he set. Remember, David said, you lead me down the path of righteousness for your sake, the path of righteousness, meaning I'm living the way that you want me to live because you're directing me, because you are my shepherd. You're Yahweh Roi. You're the one leading me. You lead me beside the still waters. You lead me in the path of righteousness for your name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Why? Because you're with me. Your rod and your staff. They lead me. They comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. I'm not worried about it. You anoint my head with oil. You see? And the only way that you and I can live, and when we do live this way, okay, then you and I can sing a shir. See, Yashar, and the one is called a shir. Shir. A shir. A shir is a song. Okay. Sometimes it's called shirah. Okay. You sing a shirah to Yahweh. You can sing a song. You can sing a song to Yahweh because you're happy. Okay. Now I tell you all the time, we got to be careful what we do when we're in the lands of our enemies. One of the things that I've been trying to get us to all understand, including me, we're not going to serve Yah on our terms. You and I can sing a song to Yah. You can sing a shirah to Yah. You can do that. Yes, you can. Because you thinking about him makes you happy. You can sing to him, but don't you get it twisted when you talk about singing in front of the tabernacle. That's for the Levites. Don't get it twisted when you think that I'm living an upright way when you're in the nations. No, you're not. No, we're not. Because if we were, Yah would never have said, I'm going to take you out of the lands of your enemies and wash you and cleanse you and get rid of the names of the gods that you came off your mouth. We're the type of people that it's against the commandment of Yah to even mention the name of another Elohim. Have you mentioned the name of an Elohim ever came off your mouth? Yes? No? Maybe? Let's see if we're going to confess. Has the name of any other God ever came off of your mouth?
Absolutely, many times.
Every day.
Absolutely.
Okay. We were commanded not to do so, right?
Cain Akika, that's correct.
Okay. So now that we know that we violated Yah's law, do we think we just can rinse that away or wash it out with some mouthwash?
Not a chance. No,
No,
we can't.
because no, we can't do it because we've gone against the commandment of the Most High. And that he doesn't take that lightly because we did that and we declared that in front of the heavens and the earth, in front of all creation. We had blasphemed the Most High by mentioning the name of another God. So why we did that, after we found out that we did it, Now all of a sudden we're not under our curse, and now Yahweh is blessing us, right? He's blessed us now.
Yeah, all right.
Mhm.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So we can't do what's right in our own eyes. Okay? That's what we can't do. And this whole chapter is talking about you can bring your tithes and your offerings to me. I don't have time to go over that right now. But there was a point in here where he said something that I want to bring to your attention, just in case you want to follow the other gods of the people. Okay? So let's see what he says at the last verse of just second to the last verse. Okay? When Yahweh has cut down before you the nations that you're about to enter and dispossess, and you have dispossessed them and settled in their land, beware of being lured into their ways after they have been wiped out before you. So don't inquire about their gods, saying, how did those nations worship their gods? To I too will follow their practices. Okay. You shall not act thus toward Yahweh your Elohim, for they perform for their gods every abhorrent act that Elohim detests, that they even offer up their sons and daughters in the fire to their gods. What does that sound like to you?
Sound like Christianity. They offering up
Mhm.
that's what sounds to me.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So he says, never shall you say, you shall never do this to Yahweh your Elohim. So Yahweh detests the acts of the nations. Yahweh hates their gods and he hates their acts that they do. He detests, he hates it. So if Yah hates them offering up their sons and their daughters in a fire to their gods, then why would the Most High, he wants you to see this, then why would he offer up his so-called son to die if he hates it? So put this in your notes, chapter number 12, verse number 31. So when someone's telling you that he gave his son, his only begotten son, that you should have eternal life, you bring them here and say, how's that possible? When he says he hates anybody who sacrificed their sons or daughters, their own children. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this is that the conclusion to the teaching there, we see chapter number 13, but in Hebrew, it goes beyond right there. It's actually right here where the teaching stops, which is verse number 1. So I'll mark it out right here. This symbol here tells you that everything that ended right here, this is an end. That means everything from here up goes together. So this verse right here that they have in chapter number 13, verse number 1, really goes with this part of the scroll. So when he just told you that they're burning up their sons and their daughters, there's something that the Most High is telling Moshe to tell us. In chapter number 13, verse number 1, just the way that it's listed here, it says, all in which Yahweh Elohim is, he says, which I am commanding you. This is Moses talking. He says, be careful to observe only which I have enjoined upon you, neither add nor take away from it. And then he stops the teaching from that point. Then he's going to change the subject, which you and I are about to do. We're going to change the subject because this is the end here, okay, of everything. Now the mouth of Moshe is closed on that subject. And now he's going to open his mouth again to tell us. So there's an end, there's an opening, and there's a closing. Okay. So when a teaching closes, it stops right here, and then, which means it's in, and then he opens his mouth and he begins another subject and he begins to teach something totally different that has nothing to do with everything up here. So chapter number 12 and chapter number 13 are two different teachings. They're not one and the same. Okay. So let's begin in verse number 2 of chapter number 13. And so it's a new teaching. And let's see what he's going to tell us. Okay. Chapter number 13, verse number 2, in this part of the scroll of the Torah, Moshe warns us about what you would say a prophet. Okay. He warns you about a prophet. He says, and I'll read it in English just for the sake of time. He says, if there appears among you a prophet or a dreamer or a dream diviner, meaning a dreamer of dreams, who gives you a sign or a portent, okay, saying, let us follow and worship another God. Okay, so this is what they're going to say, whom you have not known, experienced. Okay, even if the sign or the portent, the miracle or whatever, wonder happens, name to you comes true, do not heed the words of that prophet. Do not listen. Okay, don't listen to this prophet. Okay, or the dreamer. For the eternal Yahweh is testing you. Yahweh is testing you to see whether or not you really love the eternal, your Elohim, with all your heart and soul. So Yah is going, this is a part of the Torah that Most High wanted Moshe to tell us. He's telling you that something can actually come true. A sign can come true, and a dream can come true. Some wonder they can actually do it, something and show you, and it can actually come true. And he says, and he told you to go follow another God. Okay, which is the here, which they call Nelaka. You see that word Nelaka right there? There's a shepherd staff, and there is a cough again, meaning palm of the hand. That means put your staff in your hand and come and walk. Come walk after us. Come follow us while we go to church. Come follow us while we go serve this God. Come follow us while we walk around the stone in Mecca. Come follow us. Come take this journey with us. Come down to the feast of Baal Peor. Come and worship with us at our Sunday service. Come to a revival. The man did a miracle. We saw somebody that got healed, and it came true. It's true. This is God. Okay. Yah's saying all those things can come true. He says he wants to know. Yah's testing you. Remember, they said in the New Testament, the Most High doesn't test a man? Yes, he does. Yah doesn't tempt anybody. No, Yah tests you. The word testing and tempting is exactly the same. Okay. Yah's testing you. Okay. Manasseh, that's what it's called right here. And let me put it on the screen so you can see it. I'm going to highlight it right here, and it's going to show up on the other side of the screen. And there it is. The root of that word is called nase. Okay. Or nasa. And nasa means that what Yah's purpose is to prove you. And it is to tempt you. I thought Yah can't tempt anybody. No, the Torah says that Yah is going to test you. He's going to prove you. He's going to examine you, and he's going to actually put you to the test in order to prove you. That's what your Elohim is going to do. Or if he's not your Elohim, this is what our Elohim will do. Okay? So, temptation. So Yah will do that to you? Yeah, why? Because Yah wants to know. It says that he wants to know whether you really love him. Okay? So we understand, okay, well, how do I love? No, in Hebrew, it doesn't mean whether you really love. In Hebrew, it's talking about if there exists, what they would say to you, if there's any love that you have for him, if there's an existence of it. Okay. So that word right there is called Wayishkim. Okay. And right here, the word, and I'll show you on the right hand side again, the word is yesh. And yesh means, does there exist? Is there any existence, any substance there? Is there anything that is there that you love him? What does he want you? What does he want you to love him with? Yeah, I was telling us, I want to find out whether or not if there is an existence or if there is any type of love of loving me, not just past tense loved, any loving me. And you and I are supposed to love him with all of our heart and all of our soul. So that's the purpose. So Yah sends the individual to us who can perform a miracle to find out whether or not you have a heart, which is your mind, not your beating heart in your chest, but your mind and your desires. That's what heart and soul means, mind, your mind and your desires. Is your desire towards the Most High? Are you really loving him? And the only way he can find that out is if he puts you in a position where someone will show you something or tell you something in order to find out. So the Most High has allowed prophets and dreamers to come to his people and to share information with them and use their tricks and bring things to pass in order to see if you would follow the Most High. Okay. The Eternal One, reading on, your Elohim is Yahweh, the one whom you shall follow. So everything that we've been reading so far is always asked about this Teliku. Remember, they say Nelaka, which is the Lamed again, and a Kaf. So chapter number 13 is about following Yah. We found in Jeremiah chapter number 5, he says, you guys are dumb and stupid people. Why? Because you're doing your own thing. You're not following me. How do you follow Yah? You have to follow Yah by listening to the voice of Yah, the call of Yah. If you don't listen to him, you become kolal. That means that you're nothing. You treat me, he said, you treat me like nothing, you get nothing. You worship false gods, you're going to go serve false gods. You're going to serve strangers. Okay. So it's measure for measure. So he says that here, you guys are walking and living the way that you want to. That's the Teliku. And he says, and you don't fear me. Okay. And my commandments, right? He says that you shall follow me, and whom you shall fear. You shall fear me, and whose commandments you should observe, meaning you shall guard, and whose orders you shall heed, and whom you should worship. That's that service right there, ta'avod, which a lot of people today are saying that they're serving Yah, they're Yah's servant. I'm telling you, no, you're not, because you're not in the land. You cannot serve Yah and worship Yah outside of the land of Israel. You can pray to the Most High while you're outside of Israel, but you can't serve him and you can't worship him in the manner in which is prescribed according to what's been written. You can't do it outside of the land. I know they got all these synagogues and churches and places that you go, and they tell you how close you are to God and how much he loves you and how blessed you are. They're lying to you. Those are the evil men that he's talking about, because they're not telling you that Yah is angry at us. They're not telling you that you're in exile. They're not telling you that you're not going to be cleansed until you leave this land. They're not telling you that you're not going to receive a blessing until you get out of this place. They're not telling you this. What they're going to do is they're going to come up with their own way, like you saw in chapter 12, verse number 8, said they're doing what's right in their own eyes. So they're going to write their own books. They're going to write their own malakas, right, on how to perform the Sabbath while you're in exile, which is adding to what Yah said. There's individuals out here that said they're going to write their own, what they call malakah, okay, how to observe the Sabbath while in exile. Complete rebellion against the Most High. The Most High doesn't want you to write a malakah. The Most High wants you to understand where you are. So you'll know that we have abandoned Yahweh. We have forgotten about Yahweh. He wants us to feel it, and he wants us to experience it, and he wants you to know why you're in exile. Not so you can come up with your own rule book on how to keep the Sabbath that you can't keep properly because you can't bring the tithes and bring the offerings to the Most High that he asked you. Not so you can come up and create a new way of keeping Sukkot. Not for you to come up with your own way on how you are to observe the Pesach while you're in exile. It defeats the whole purpose of you saying that you're in the lands of your enemies, that you're surrounded by them. Let's continue to read. Yah's telling us that the only one that you're supposed to be listening to while you were in your land was him. So let's don't get it twisted in verse number 5 that you think you can do this while you are in exile. This is pre-exile. This is when they're going into their land. This is not when you get to exile. Let's keep everything the way that he said. Okay. So he said, as for the prophet or the dreamer, we're reading on, they shall be put to death. Why? Because they urged disloyalty to the Holy One, the Eternal One, and who freed you from the land of Egypt and redeemed you from the house of bondage to make you stray from the path that Yahweh, the Eternal One, had commanded you to follow. Thus you will sweep out evil from your midst, which again, they're lighting it up. That word is Uviarta, and uviarta in Hebrew means I need you to burn away. That word right there is to burn. It's not just to sweep away. He's talking about I need you to burn this evil from among yourselves. It's called uviarta right here. Look on the right hand side of the screen. They're looking up the word right now, maybe because it had the u in it. Uviarta. There you go. Is to burn, is to consume away this evil. Okay, so they're going to be put to death while they're in their land because they gave a word. They spoke what? They spoke Sarah. Sarah means to turn. So anybody that's coming to us that are trying to change the way that we're thinking and trying to get us to follow them and to follow their gods, the Most High said, I sent them to you to see if you stay on the path. I'm going to send them. While you're in your land, I'm going to send them. Because I want to know whether you're going to turn from Yahweh. And what? The commandment. Are you going to turn and you're going to exit and leave the commandment? Okay. So the Most High said, I've delivered you from the land. I took you out of the land of Mitzrayim. So why is he saying that I kept you out of the land of Egypt? Why is it that he's saying they want you to get off the path that I told you? I'm the one who freed you. It's because he's saying I'm the eternal, I'm Yahweh. Because when you talk about the land of Egypt, it's Most High told Pharaoh that Yahweh is the one who's going to deliver the children of Israel. That's when Yahweh gave us his name when we were in Egypt. So our Elohim, our so-called, they call God, our Elohim, our power is the one who freed us from slavery in Egypt. He's the one who redeemed us. And that's why he's saying the path that I'm setting before you is the path you should follow. Follow the path of the one who took you out of Egypt.
And it's because of his name. In his name, if I'm understanding, when he revealed his name.
Yes. So every time he mentions, I'm the one who freed you from Egypt, he's saying, I'm Yohe-Wahe, the one that Pharaoh asked, who is Yahweh that I should be afraid of him or I should let the people go? And you got to remember why the Most High took us out of Egypt. He freed us so we wouldn't serve them, so we wouldn't worship their gods, which is a picture of where we are today. So if you and I are going to come back to the Most High and we're going to return to him, then you and I must understand that we need to turn away from the gods of the people. We can turn our back on their gods. You can turn your back on their God. Right now, you can turn your back on their God. And how do you do that? Well, I'm not going to follow your holidays. I'm not going to follow your recommendations. I'm not going to follow your diet. I'm not going to follow the way that you think about the week. I'm not going to follow your months. I'm not following any of that. I'm going to remove myself away from your thinking, okay? And I'm going to return back to the Most High. I'm going to start the process of returning back to him because I'm going to listen to what? I'm going to listen to his voice, his call. That's what I'm going to listen to. I'm going to listen to the call of Yah. Yah told us, once you're in the lands of your enemies, you start returning to my voice. The call of Yah is to gather to the staff. How do you gather to the staff? You start listening. That's it. Remember the call versus the call. The call is Yah is talking to us in a very simple way. I'm telling you that all I want you to do is do it in a simple way. Listen. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Yah's the one who set the terms of the commandment. You and I don't get a chance to change it because he's trying to see whether or not you and I are going to listen to him. That's why at that time, when they were in the land, he sent people to them to test them. So is our Elohim an Elohim of testing? Is he the one who's going to see whether or not you and I are going to be disloyal? So how do we show our disloyalty? You show your disloyalty when you forget about the Elohim who took you out of Egypt. That's why. That's how. Okay? Your disloyalty is when you leave the one who freed you. Well, we're not freed right now, right? So obviously, this is brought to our attention because the one who freed us from Egypt will be the same one that's going to free you and I from our bondage where we are today. And how does that happen? When you and I say, you know what? I'm going to be on the path that Yah has set. I'm just on that path. I'm walking that path. You're going through that path when you follow the Torah. The Torah is when the commandments, the laws, and the statutes, not so you can do them outside of the land, so you can remember why you left the path. Yah's mercy and compassion is to show you that you treated my words kolal. You didn't have any respect and you did not honor my words, so I gave a kolal to you. I made you nothing among the nations. The only way that you can become something again is by taking off the others lamed. The Most High will then say, well, okay, you're going to listen to me? Then I'm going to remove this last L. I'm going to remove this lamed. And I'm just going to have you be the call here. You're going to start listening to my voice. How you listen? Just listen. Listen that I'm the one who took you out of Egypt. I want you to see that. I want you to see that I'm the one who redeemed you. These other gods that you're following have never done anything for you. So Yah's testing your loyalty. Got it? Now he says, if your brother, your own mother's son, your daughter, your son or your daughter, your wife of your bosom, or your closest friend, they entice you in secret, saying, come, let us worship other gods. In context, why they're in their land. He said, neither you or your ancestors have never known. They have word experience there, but it is to know. Your fathers didn't know. Yaratah. Your fathers don't. Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they don't know this God. They don't know it. Your ancestors, they don't know any other gods. Your ancestors don't know anyone except for the one who delivered them. Abraham knows the Most High. Yitzchak knows the Most High. Yaakov definitely knows the Most High. Okay? And he says, you have never experienced from among the gods of the peoples. Every other god outside of Yahweh is another god of the peoples that are around you. They're either near you or they're distant. That means far away from you, anywhere, from one end of the earth to the other. If they're not the one who brought you out of Egypt, they're a false god. And that is not your God. So ask yourself the question, the nations in which you are scattered right now, do they bring offerings to the Most High? Are they proclaiming the name of Yahweh in the land, in the place that he told them? No. Did he even tell them to come and worship him? No. Do they celebrate his Moedim? Are they telling you you get a notification, you hear the sound of the shofar telling you that the new moon is coming? Are they bringing offerings to the Most High, the best of everything they have? No. So what do you and I need to see? What you need to is the fact that you're not in your land. You need to see that you are on one end of the earth and they're telling you about their gods. They're telling you about the God that saved them from their sins when they're still sinning. They tell you about the God who's released the wicked and killed the innocent. They're telling you about the God that allows you to eat anything you want versus what Yah prescribed in chapter number 16 of the book of Deuteronomy for your diet. Yah tells you not to show them individuals compassion or pity. Why? You can't do it while you're in this land that you're in right now, but while they're in their land, he said, kill them, put them to death. Then he goes on and he says, if it's in one of your towns, you find out these people told you, come, let us go worship other gods, whom you have not experienced. Investigate it, he said. Go find out whether it's true or not. If it is true, he tell them go burn up everything. Go kill everybody. And here's the crazy part. Let me bring it to you so you'll know. So you can see it finally for yourself, okay? It said, let nothing that has been doomed stick to your hand, in order that Yahweh may turn from his blazing anger and show you compassion, and in compassion increase you as promised and oath to your fathers. For you will be heeding, listening to the Eternal One, your Elohim, obeying all the commandments I've enjoined unto you this day, because you're doing what is right in the sight of Yahweh, your Elohim. Doing what is right. What? Your family members in the land try to get you to go and worship another God. He says, your hand is supposed to be the first one to kill him. You found out a town was worshiping another god. You go and you kill everybody in the town, all their animals, take all their belongings, everything that belonged to them, put it in the midst of the city, set everything on fire, burn the whole city up, and do what's right, and I'll have mercy on you and increase your numbers. Can you do this right now?
Can't
Hmm?
do it. Nope, can't be done.
Okay. So if we're saying that we're keeping the laws and the statutes and the commandments, are your family members worshiping another God? Or you have any family members who are trying to convince you to come to church and get saved or come to a revival?
I've had some.
Yeah. So what are you supposed to do with them according to this?
I just dismiss them. I don't listen to them right now. I can't do
Yeah,
anything
but if
about it
you're in the
because,
land, Dawid, tell me, I'm
oh,
sorry for cutting you off. If you were in the land, what are you supposed to do?
put them to death.
Okay, so while you're not in your land, what can you do?
Why we not? We can't do anything while
Can you
we're
do
not in
nothing.
our land.
So
Not a
can we
thing.
fulfill Yah's law? Because he said this is right in his eyes. Can you do what's right in Yahweh's eyes?
Can't do it in this land. Absolutely
Okay,
not.
good. So what we are doing is according to how we see it, is it?
True.
It's not according to how he said, is it?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so how is it that we can do what we think is right in our own eyes right now, and then on the same, out of the same mouth and out of the same body and the same experience, now all of a sudden we say we can keep his laws and statutes, commandments, and all these other areas the right way. But when it came to him to say that he said, everything I'm telling you to do today, you're supposed to do it. I got a whole bunch of people, if we were in our land right now and told me to let's go worship Christ or whoever, we supposed to put them to death. Son, daughter, wife, who doesn't matter, best friend, brother, you're gone. So, what does he want us to see? He wants us to see that you can't keep what I'm telling you. Why? Because you didn't listen to me. You can't execute Yahweh's laws because you didn't listen to him. Your ancestors didn't listen to the Most High. We did not follow what he has said. That's why you're in the lands of your enemies, because you didn't listen. 14 tells you this: you are the children of the eternal Yahweh, your Elohim. You shall not gash yourselves or shave the front of your heads, right? Because of the dead. For you are consecrated people to Yahweh, your Elohim, the eternal Yahweh, Elohim, who chose you from among all the peoples on the earth to be the treasure one. You are the one to be the Segula. Okay. So if you want to know what a Segula is, I'm going to tell you. When Yah says that you're a Segula and he chose you from all the peoples on the face of the planet, you are Yah's possession. You're Yah's property. But are you in Yah's land? No, you're not. Valued. Yah said, I'm sending you out. And why? Because you didn't listen. So what he's done is he gave us into the possession of the nations. So now you're their property. You're the, what they would say, the 3/5 now. That's how they look at you. You're 3/5 of a human being. Now you're chattel slavery. You're just like an animal to them. Now you have to fight for your rights. Now you have to beg them to have a day off or you'll lose your job. Yeah, that's what it is. So what does y'all want you to see? He wants you and I to see that we gave up our role of being a segula to Yah because you and I wouldn't listen to Yah. He wants you to remember that you are the kalal now in front of the eyes of the nations. You are nothing to them. And Yah has looked at us this way because this is how we responded to him. Because in the word of curse, a kalal is his voice, the call. You would not gather to the staff. As a nation of people. You understand? This is the reality. This is what we're supposed to see. I don't have that much more time to go over these things. I'm going to save some of the other things that I had, which was talking about David, King David, and what and how important he is to the whole equation. Okay. No, but you know what? I'm not going to do that. I tell you what, for any of us to assume that you and I have a day or another time is an error. The time that you and I have today is the time that Yah has granted in his mercy to us. Do you understand? So I'm not going to delay what he has said because I might not be here to tell you. I may not be. In your Haftarah, Yahweh says something to us, and I'll share it with all of us. He said, incline your ear and come to me. These are commands. Okay. So the first word incline means expand your ear. That's called the hatu right here. Okay. It comes from a root word called nata. And nata means to spread out. So when he talks about incline your ear to me, right? What he's telling us is I need you to expand and spread out your understanding. Okay. So let's look it up right here. Hatu is in a command form and it means to, again, nata means stretch out, extend your ear. Extend your understanding so you can listen and pay careful attention with your ears. And he said, ulaku. And that ulaku right there means come. Remember, we've been talking about the word lock. That word right there is yalak. And yalak here, Y, A, that's Yah, and then lock, L-A-K. Okay. The L here is the lamed right here. This final cough right here is this symbol here, and that has to do with the palm of the hand. And it can also be seen as this shape of a letter. So they come in two. They come like that and they come like this. This one is when it's in the middle of the word. This is called a final cough, where it's the same sound. It's just the form looks different. They just make the letter look different. Okay. So when we look right here, it means to walk or to go, like we've been saying, when he says that you guys want to lock a laku, you want to go your way. Shepherd staff. Okay. You're going to do it your way. You take the palm of the hand with the staff and you're walking and you're going the way that you want to go. So when what Yah is commanding us to do is he's saying, if he's saying hatu, he's saying, look, hatu the azanim. So the first part of walking in the direction is giving one's ear to the Most High. And he says ulaku, and he's asking you and I to walk. So what do we have to do if we're going to hatu? If we're going to hatu, that means you have to open up your understanding. You have to listen. So the only way you'll be able to start walking or going in the direction that Yah wants us to go is by opening up your ears, expanding your understanding, opening your ears, spreading them out to listen. Okay, like you would a sheet or a blanket on the ground. So don't be quick to just don't be quick with your listening. Just really be laid back and like you would with a pallet on the ground and just be patient. And Yah saying ulaku. He's telling you to come to him. Okay. And again, you see the alai here, that L right there, the lamed means towards me, strong staff. The ox is the first letter, the aleph, and then the yod right here is me. Come to me. So this is the command. So Yah is telling us to come to him, and he's telling you to listen. That's the shimu, coming from the word shema. I need you to listen to me. Listen to me. Okay? So expand your ear and then come to me. So what does he want? He wants you to come to him. And he says that in utaki. And the key right here is to live. I want you to live. So if you and I would listen to the Most High, he says you live. You get to have that kai right here. You get to live. Okay? And what part of you gets to live? Your nafshakim, your soul, your nefesh gets to live. Okay? He's not promising for your body. He's telling your soul, because everything is about our soul. So he's telling, so what part of you should be listening? The part of you that should be listening is not just the ears that you have, you think Yah's talking about the ears that you have in your head. He's using your ears and your eyes to get to the soul, because those are the windows. So expand your ears open so your soul can listen to me. I want your soul. That's what he wants. He doesn't want just our bodies. He wants what's in the body, which is your soul, to come to him. He wants us to, and he says, "Wa ekrata, I will write with you and I will cut with you. I'm going to cut with you to lakem, to you, See the staff again? I'm going to cut with you a berit. I'm going to give you a covenant of olam, an eternal covenant. So if you and I come to him, he says, I'm going to give you an agreement. An agreement that I'm going to give you is the agreement called Kasde. And that means the loving kindness and the mercies of David. Okay. And they're sure. They're 100% going to happen. It's not believe. Okay. So the word for imunah or the God of Manim means to, and I'll highlight it for you right quick so you can see that that word right there means aman, okay, which we talked about before. It's not a belief system, but it is to be supportive and to confirm. They might use it abstractly to mean being faithful or to believe, but it really means to confirm or to support or to be 100% sure, like a pillar. Okay, that's where it comes from. You don't have to believe anything. It is what it is. So most High is saying, I've already made a promise. And the promise that he made to David was this, what they call Kasde, which is the goodness and kindness of Yah. That's what Yah has promised, loving kindness to David. Okay. And the loving kindness that he gave to David is that I'm going to make him a leader. David's going to be a prince. He's going to be a leader. Here it is. I have made him a leader of the peoples, and I made a prince. So he made him a prince and he made it a commander. Okay. That's what he told him. Right. Now, why is this important for us? And you'll hear me talk about it for the weeks to come. Yah has made a promise, and he's saying the promise that I made David was an everlasting covenant. That's the reason why he's mentioning David. Okay. So what is why this is important for us is to say that when the Most High made an enduring loyalty and a promise to David, Yah promised David that he would be a leader of the peoples, a prince, and a commander of the peoples. Okay. Without any peoples, there's no David. Without any promise that Yah has made to David, there won't be no people. So one of the things that has guarded us along the way is the promise that the Most High made to David. And the individuals that who listen to the Most High says, I'm going to make with you the covenant I made with David. It is the covenant he made with David that ensures that there's always going to be someone that sits on David's throne. And if there's someone sitting on the throne of David, that means there's going to be a nation of Israel. Okay. So let me show that to you. This is important. So, okay. When Yah made a covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he promised them to be their God and to be the God of their descendants. And he said, I'm going to give you land and I'm going to give you descendants. That's the promise. I'm always going to be your God. I'm always going to be your Elohim, and you're always going to have descendants. That's what he made. Israel made Yah was so mad that he said, I'll wipe everyone out, Moses, and I'll start over with you. Then he sends them to the land, and he said, hey, I won't make a full end of you. I'll kill most of you, but I won't completely destroy you. The only reason why Yah is not destroying completely Israel is because Yah has made some covenants and he's made some promises. And this is what he wants us to see, that I've made a promise of loyalty to David, and it's enduring, it's forever. It's forever. Okay, so if it's a promise that's made to David forever, you ask yourself, well, what promise was that? Okay, the promise is this. If you go to Jeremiah chapter number 33, Yah says something, and it's starting in verse number 7. We're going to go down, okay? He says, I will restore the fortunes of Judah and Israel, and I will rebuild them as of old. Okay, you see that? Mistranslation, restore the fortunes. So when you read this, you would think you're talking about gold and silver and precious stones, and you're talking about some inheritance of land and all that kind of stuff. He's not talking about that. He's not talking about fortunes in that understanding. Okay, that's a mistranslation. The real translation is, I'm going to return the Shavuot. Okay, the Shavuot is right here. I'm going to highlight it. Are the captives? Let me see. Yehuda, Shavuot. Here's the Shavuot. Okay, so when Most High is talking about I'm going to restore, he's talking about in the fortunes, he's talking about the captives. The reason why the Jewish people in their textbooks put fortunes is because they don't want you to know because they're not the people of the captivity. That's why they change it. Yah said, I'm going to return the captives, those who are in captivity, those who are in bondage, those who have been taken. I'm going to return those people. Okay. The word for return right here is this first word called hashavuati right here. Okay. Right there. Okay. And it means those who, let me get rid of this so you can see, those who remain and sit and abide. So when he's talking about, and the ones who abide and stay are the ones or who are sitting down or the ones who are going to remain, the ones who are going to dwell. He's saying, I'm going to return them to their dwelling place where they were supposed to be sitting. You and I are not supposed to be among the nations. He sent us here because of our disobedience and because we abandoned him and you were serving strangers. But he's saying, I'm going to cause the captives to return. Okay. And he uses this word, and hopefully you can see these two letters right here. And then you'll see these two letters right here. And then you'll see the same two letters right here. All of them mean to return the captives. A sheen and a bet. And it comes from the word shuv. Okay. That's where it comes from. And it means to return. Okay. So the shavuot are the ones who are supposed to return to their dwelling place. Okay. And he says, I'm going to do this. And you say, well, where's David at? Well, we're going to get there. Okay. So the shavuos. So there's no reason for anyone to come back to the land until there is someone that Most High wants to guide his people. Okay. He said, I will purge them from all of their sins. You see that? So this is what Yah is saying to us. I'm going to purge them, who? The captives, from all of their sins that they committed against me. So remember, if he's going to do that, then Yah's going to get rid of the kolal. He's going to get rid of the curse. Okay. That's when I told you it's going to come to an end. Okay. And he says, I will pardon all their sins. So if we put the cart before the horse, we can say, well, JC, the Christ did this for us. And therefore, the purging of them and their sins happened at the cross of Calvary that they committed against me. And if that is the case, then we would know that Israel and the nation of Israel and Judah would be back and returning back to their homeland if we were to keep everything in its context. So those of us who are listening and paying attention and we understand context, let's just look at the previous verse again. I will restore the captives, not the fortunes, okay, of Judah and Israel. That's both houses. And I will rebuild them as of old, meaning their families, okay? And then he says, once I do that, I will purge them of all their sins. So when your New Testament came and JC said he died for all the sins of Israel and that they committed against the Most High, he said, I will pardon all their sins. Then why weren't the children of Israel and Yehuda restored? They weren't restored because he didn't do what he said that he did. He's a false prophet, okay? And the people that are, propagating that understand that. They want you to believe that he did that for you. But according to what the Most High said, if I purge them, it's because I'm going to rebuild them, okay? Verse number 9. And she, Israel, shall gain through me renown, joy, fame, glory above all nations on earth. So if he forgave all of our sins and he redeemed us and forgave us for the crimes, then you and I would have glory above all the nations on the earth. So we know this has not happened. Okay. And when they hear of all the good fortune I will provide for them, they will thrill and quiver because of all the good fortune and because of all the prosperity that I have provided. And that prosperity is talking about shalom. Okay. So when you get to your land, and I'll highlight it so you can know that Akika's telling us the truth, shalom, right here. Shalom means that I have made you complete. I've made you sound. You have peace and you have safety. And so shalom for us is not an abstract term. It actually has to do with our welfare. It has to do with our health, and it has to do with our prosperity when we are in our land. Right now, you're in a land of your enemies. You're not in the land of your friends. You're not in the land of people that love the Most High Yah. You are a captive. You understand? So he's saying everything I'm going to do for her. Okay. Thus said Elohim, Kol Amar. He says, and there again shall be heard in this place, what? The place that they live, which you shall say is ruined, Jerusalem, without animals and without humans and animals in the towns of Yehuda and the streets of Jerusalem that are all desolate and without humans and without inhabitants, without animals. So if those people over there in the land of so-called Israel today are the people, right? Then there would be joy, there would be peace, but you don't see that. You see nothing but war, you see nothing but terror, you see nothing but genocide. Okay. He said, the sound of mirth and gladness, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride, and the voice of those who cry out. Okay. So again, let's verify if I told you the truth about the word voice. If you look to your right, you will see the coal, and you'll see another coal, and you'll see another coal. And let's see if that is voice. Yes, it is. Well, let's see. What is voice? The Kaf and the Lamed. Oh, there you go. You see? So here it is. Here's your Kaf. Here's your Lamed. That means gather to the staff. Gather to the voice. You're hearing a voice. And Yah's voice is what? Yah's voice is his commandments. And he said, likeness. Remember, I said if you bid the call, because you can listen to the voice, but if you don't consider the voice, then that could be swiftness, that could be lightness or frivolity, meaning that you don't consider it to be nothing. Okay. So it has a couple of different meanings, right? So let's just click this right quick so you can see what does it mean? A lack of seriousness. Remember, your parents are talking. Oh, your lightheartedness. I'm just, nah. Yah's joking. Whatever he said, I'll just treat it lightly. Because the New Testament replaced this because I'm not under the Old Testament, I'm under the New Testament. You understand? So he says, all who cry and give thanks to Yahweh of hosts for Elohim who steadfast in his love, right? So Yah's talking about when he returns you, he's going to give you steadfast his love. His steadfast love, everyone, is his casto, right here. Important for you to understand. Because I might not be around to tell you this. So I got to tell you, because I'm not going to presume upon the Most High to say that I'm going to be here to tell you what he says. So let's look at the word that he said is loving kindness, his casto. Look to your right, Yah's goodness and his faithfulness. Okay. So when the Most High says he's going to show David his kindness, he's showing David his goodness. He's showing David his loving kindness. He's showing Israel his loving kindness, his eternal love that he has for his people. His eternal love and it's good. Okay. And by us receiving this, is him returning us back to our land. But he's not going to let you return back to the land. You're never going to be able to bring him a Thanksgiving offering to the house of Yahweh until he said, I will restore, meaning the captives. Again, he's going to return the Shavuot right here of the land. That's Yah's kindness. Okay. But listen to this. So he's saying, I'll return you. But look, when he returns, you're going to bring offerings from me. Thus say the Elohim Zavaot, meaning in this ruined place, without humans and animals, in all its towns, there shall again be a pasture for shepherds where they can rest their flocks. In the towns of the hill country, in the towns of Shephelah, in the town of Negev, in the land of Benjamin, in the environs of Yerushalayim, in the towns of Yehuda, sheep will pass under the hands of one who counts them, said Yahweh. Okay? Now, command C. Remember the A? He said the days are coming. And this is a Ne'um again from Yahweh. This is a prophetic declaration of Yahweh. Okay, so it's not him just talking, it's him prophetically telling us when I will fulfill the promise that I made concerning the house of Israel and the house of Yehuda. So Yah made a promise, not only to David, but he made a promise to the house of Israel and to the house of Yehuda. Why is Yah declaring and prophetically telling us about this promise? Because it's connected to you as a person who's supposed to return to the land. Okay. He said the days are coming. He says in those days, okay, at that in particular time, okay, I will raise up a true branch of David's line. Okay. Okay, he's in Atzmiach, that means I will raise up. And he says, for David. Right here is for David. You see the lamed right here? That's for David. Okay. I'm going to raise up for David a branch, a zemach. That's a branch, meaning a sprout. Okay. It's going to be a sprout of righteousness that's going to raise up for David. Okay. And let me show you when it says for la David zemach. Okay. The zemach right there is a sprout, which they will call a branch, but it's a zemach right here. It is a branch, but it's also called a sprout. Listen to this. It grows. A zemach is a branch. So out of David's family line, the Most High is going to cause a son, a male, to grow out from that family line. Okay. And he's going to grow out of it. Okay. And when he grows from this line, and didn't say what time or nothing. Okay. He said, but in those days, listen carefully. Yah said, in those days. What days? In the days of him returning the captives to their land. Okay? Yah says, at that time, I will raise up a true branch, a zemach, a righteous branch. That true right there is righteous. Okay? He's a righteous. And it say true, the word true is not here. It's called Zedekiah. Zedekiah right here, let me show you, is the righteousness. Okay? It's the justice and righteousness. So this branch of David is going to be righteous. He's going to do justice. And he can only do the justice and the righteousness of Yahweh, not while he's in the lands of his enemies. He cannot judge the house of Israel and the house of Yehudah while he is in the land of his enemies. He cannot be a ruler. He cannot be a king. He cannot execute the law of Yah. He cannot execute the righteousness of Yahweh while you're in the land of his enemies. But David will come from among the ones who are in captivity. But David, this son, will not be rose or raised up until he is in the land. And it says, and he shall do. He shall make, he shall do, he will do. He is made, he is worked. He do what? He's going to do mishpat. He's going to do judgment. That's what he's going to do. He's going to do judgment. You cannot do the judgment of Yah while you are in the nations. He's going to carry out Yahweh's judgment in the land. On your left-hand side of the screen. In the land. And what does it mean to be righteous? It means in pursuit of what is right. And the only thing that is right is Yahweh's judgment. That's the only thing that is right. So when you and I are saying we're doing his judgment, we're not, because there are people who are trying to convince you to go worship their God on Sunday, or trying to get you to get your child an Easter basket, or trying to get you and convince you it's okay to keep Christmas, or trying to get you and convince you that you don't have to worry about, thinking or considering the Shabbat. You don't have to worry about the diet because you are saved by JC the Christ. In those days, what days? In the days to come, Judah shall be delivered. The nation shall be delivered. Jerusalem shall be dwell in and secure. Well, if JC the Christ was this descendant, then Judah would have been delivered from their oppression, which that never happened. Jerusalem would have been dwelling safely, but we don't see that. We saw that the Romans were occupying Jerusalem at that time. So he is not from David. He's not a righteous branch from David. And this is what it shall be called. What? It says, and this is what he shall be called. He shall be called Yahweh. They say God of Vindicator. No, it doesn't say that. It says he shall be called Yahweh Tsidkenu. That means Yahweh is righteous. The righteousness of Yah. Okay? The one who pursues the righteousness. Let me get rid of this. Keep scratching it out. The Zukenu right here. Yahweh Zukenu. Yahweh is righteous. Yahweh is righteous. Yohe is righteous. So how do you know Yah is righteous? When David is in the land and he's sitting upon the throne. Listen what he says. For thus save Yohe. Now you remember, it's always about what Yah said. It's not what I think. What did he say? Ki ko amar Yahweh. Lo. He says, I will never, and he says, cut. He said, I'm not going to cut off David. I'm not going to cut off David. For David, a man who is going to Yoshev, David, who's going to sit, who's going to always sit upon the kisei of David for the house of Israel. So that is the promise that the Most High made to the nation of Israel. So if there's never a David and there's never a promise that Yah made to David, then you and I can forget about the throne. You and I can forget about the righteousness of Yah. So when Yah made this covenant with David, Yah was saying to the house of Israel, because David is only given for the house of Israel, the whole house of Israel, not just the house of Judah, the whole house of Israel. So we're looking and saying, well, he made a promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, that's true. But he also made a promise to David. And if it wasn't for this promise with David, then you can forget about Israel as a nation being ruled and being able to go back to their land and captives returning. So based upon the promise that the Most High made David, you and I are able to return to the land so David can rule over us. He says, nor shall there ever be an end. There's never going to be an end of a man of David, and there's never going to be an end of the line of Levitical priests. So when the New Testament says that they're the royal priesthood and the Christians are the new priests and they're holy people, that's not true. There won't ever end a man who will be a Levitical priest to Yah. He said, and those who present burnt offerings, there's always going to be burnt offerings. And who's going to turn grain offerings from what? The land, to give smoke and to perform sacrifices where? In the land. Do you understand? That is the case. And I'm going to stop right there. There's more to know about David, okay? But my point is that the Most High has secured our future by making promises. He made it not only to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but he made a promise to David. And he said, you're always going to have a son. And if he says there'll never be an end of David's line, that means that Israel will always be. Because Yah won't put a king over people that are not his people. So what does this mean for you and I? This is what it means. It means Yah has made a promise to David and his line, and he's telling you and I, if we were to listen to his voice, you and I are going to be the group of people and our descendants. If they listen to his voice, then they're going to be the descendants that are going to be able to have David to rule over them. And they're going to follow the laws and the statutes and the commandments the way that is prescribed. That's what it's going to be. And if Yah decides tomorrow to come and get you and to return you as a captive, because remember he said in those days, I'm going to return the captivity of Jacob in the house of Israel, and I'm going to keep the promise that I made to them. So that's what's keeping us, is that promise. Yah's going to keep his word, not just to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because Maisha asked me, so, well, he's already kept his promise. He brought us into the land. So why would he come and get us? Well, he made another promise. He made a promise to always give us somebody to rule over us. Okay. And this individual is going to come out of the captivity with the people, and Yah's going to raise him up, and he's going to make sure that everybody keeps Yahweh's laws the way that they're supposed to. He's the one who's going to execute the judgment that's required when someone says, hey, we're going to worship another God. He's going to be the one that's going to make sure that the laws and the statutes and commandments are kept. He's the one who's going to officiate the Moedim. He's the one who's going to make sure that the offerings are brought. He's the one who's going to distribute the inheritance to the people. He's the one who's going to be able to approach Yah on our behalf on Rosh Chodesh, on Shabbat, do the offerings on Pesach, Sukkot, Matzah, Shavuot, Yom Teruah. He's the one. Sukkot, he's the one. That's because Yah promised him the mercy. So when Yah told you in your Haftarah this week, that if you listen to me, I'll connect you to David. I'll connect you to David. Let me show it to you one more time so you can really understand what he told us. I'm going to connect you to David right here. Hold on, right here. Yeah, I told you and I, incline your ear and come to me. That coming again is walk towards me. You've been walking over against Yah. Turn to him, hearken, listen, and you shall live. It said be revived, but it means that you'll live. And what? Your soul. And I will make with you an everlasting covenant. Not the covenant New Testament. You don't want a new covenant. You want an everlasting covenant. Yah said the enduring loyalty, which is the caste of David. The loving kindness of Yahweh that he has promised to David. As I made him a leader of the peoples, I made him a prince, I made him a commander. That's what he made him. That's what he's telling him. You understand? So give up your ways, give up your sinful plans, turn back to Elohim. You see it right there in verse number 7. So as to be pardoned. Stop fighting and arguing with Yah about you being in your exile. Stop fighting and saying that he's blessing you when he has not. He's punishing us. And if you would say that, he said, I'll freely forgive you. And then he tells you, your plans are not my plans. He tells us, nor are my ways your ways. And that is in a Nahum, people. That is in a prophetic declaration again, that your ways are not his ways. They are never his ways. So how dare any of us say that we're doing what he said? That is an insult to the Most High. He said, you're a blind people. You got eyes and you can't see. You got ears and you still won't hear what I said. Because you're going to justify yourself. You're going to, we're doing the right thing. We're doing what's right in our own eyes. He just told you and I, but as the heavens are high above the earth, so are my ways. They're higher than your ways. My plans are above your plans. What does he have to say? What else does he need to do? Why won't you and I listen to what Yahweh says? It's the declaration of Yah. It's the call of Yah. It's the call of Yah. It's the voice of Yah. Yah is talking to us. He's telling us, your ways are not my ways. Your plans are not my plans. The way that you think is not the way I think. So when we attempt to say that we're doing what he says, you and I are being liars. And you and I are adding and subtracting from what he said. And you and I we're not listening to his voice. So open up your eyes. See, listen, see with your own eyes. See if what he's saying is true. I want you to do something. I want you to go to a restaurant and I want you to walk in and ask to speak to the cooks or the chef. And I want you to ask them, when you make my hamburger on this grill, did you fry any bacon on it? Any pork? And they're going to tell you the answer. I'm not going to answer it. I want them to answer for you. Then when you get there and they tell you what they did, I want you to ask them, has this grill been consecrated and sanctified for Yahweh's people? Has this grill been set apart for me? And guess what they're going to tell you? I'll let them tell it to you. I'm not going to say it. Let them tell you if the grill has been consecrated. So then you can find out whether or not your hamburger hit the grill with the bacon on it. And the grill was never sanctified. And Yah told us in our Torah in chapter number 16, you and I are never to touch anything, even a pig that's even dead. So when your meat was cooked on some pork that was killed, that meat actually touched that grill, that bacon touched that grill, then you know what it is. It hasn't been consecrated. So you've been defiled. But let them tell it to you. Go to your job. Go to them and ask them, hey, do you guys set apart the Rosh Kodesh? And they'll look at you, what is Rosh Kodesh? Ask him for the employee handbook and ask them to open it to the page where they show you that they keep the Sabbath day and they regard it as Kadosh. Go ask them. Go ask your gardener who cuts your yard. Ask them, do they keep the Sabbath? Do they guard it or do they have any respect for the Sabbath? And ask them about cutting your yard on Saturday. Go ask them. Go to your family's church. Just go visit with them and go sit in the congregation with them and ask them how do they feel about what they can eat. And ask them what Peter said about, well, you can eat anything that you want to eat. Go ask them. Once you go down, okay, and ask to see a copy of the United States Constitution of America, go to a museum or go wherever you need to go get a copy, and you go read in the 14th Amendment, and you tell me whether or not you're whole or not, whether or not you're shalom or you're shalem. You tell me that. Go find out and look at the statistics and go find out who the sickest people are on the face of this earth. It's not the Chinese, it's not the Japanese. Go find out. I'm not going to give you the answer. Go find out. Go find out who's been enslaved and marginalized. Go find out. Go do your history. Go find out who has the highest case of divorce. Who's the sickest? Go find out. Go find out right now whose children are the most disrespectful. Go find out. See if you're cursed. Because you don't believe it. You don't believe that. Go find out what people were scattered to the four corners of the earth and are still being mistreated today. Go find out. Do your research and find out who has the highest blood pressure out of all peoples on the face of this earth. Go find out. Go find out. That's how simple it is. So you can write A, so you can see for yourself. Then maybe, just maybe, you would start listening to the voice of Yahweh. Maybe you would start considering that, man, maybe we did treat him with disrespect and we abandoned him. Maybe we haven't listened. How much wealth do you possess? You think that you're blessed? Huh? You think, do we have a community that we can go to and get any of these issues resolved? Huh? When our daughters are found out that they've been promiscuous, what happens to them? Hmm? What happens to the man that's able to go rape a child? What happens to him? What happens to the people that commit adultery and have affairs on their wives and their husbands? What happens to them today? Do you know where you live? Do you know where you are? And do you know why you are where you are? Huh? It told us that when you have blood, you're supposed to pour the blood out on the ground. And you're not supposed to eat the flesh with the blood. But when you go to the New Testament, he says, this is my body that I gave for you, and this is my blood, drink it. So you're eating flesh and blood together, which the Most High told you that you should never even do that with an animal. So why would you do, if you can't do it with an animal, did he authorize you to do it with a human being? Please don't make me go off. What did he say? He said, don't eat the flesh with the blood. But then when you go to New Testament, eat my body and drink my blood. You like, A, you can't see. What is it? What do we want? What else? What does he have to say? What's next? Who needs to convince us? You're waiting for the United States of America? Are you waiting for some other country to tell you who you are? You're waiting for the Jews to tell you who you are? Huh? You're waiting for when someone else tells you who are, you believe them, but when Yah tells you himself, you don't believe it. And then when you find out that you are those people, you sin, you deny that you even committed crimes against the Most High. You know why? Because you and I are not cold. We're not listening. We don't, you don't see, and you're not listening. And until you and I start listening, Yah is going to make sure that you and I are treated lightly. Someone robs you, you don't get no justice. I've been robbed. You hear me? I've had experience. I ain't just talking emotionally or abstractly. I'm talking about I lost millions of dollars because of people. I lost it. I told you my story before. I have millions of dollars. And I had no one to come to my aid to help me to get my money. No one to come to my aid. No one to give me justice. All I have to give to the Most High, and all you have, is a listening heart, which is a mind, a willingness, and you should have a desire to want to do what he says to do. That's all we have. You cannot do it. You can have a desire to do it. I'm not saying that we can't have a desire to want to do it. I have a desire to keep the Shabbat the way he wants, but can I do it? No. I don't, I'm in exile. It's not an excuse, it's the truth. Could I do what's right in Yah's eyes while I'm in exile? The answer is no, because it's not according to what he said. Do I have my yearly tithes to give to the widow, the fatherless, and the Levite? Am I helping them in my gates? No, I have no gates. Maybe I should make it a little bit clearer to us. I have no gates. Okay? I don't live in a community where there's leaders where I can go to and have things resolved. I have no one to hold me accountable for my actions. Do you understand? As a man, I have no one to go to hold me accountable and know for sure that it's according to the Torah of Yahweh. So I'm out here blowing in the wind. Why? Because I did not want to listen. What do you mean? You weren't there? Yes, yes, what you think. You are your descendants. You are your ancestors. This ain't your first rodeo. Yah would not hold us accountable unless he can't hold you responsible for something you don't know, people. He told us in Leviticus that you need to say sorry for you and your ancestors for all your wicked deeds. That was written thousands of years ago. So why am I reading a scroll that was written thousands of years ago? You know, my mother told me before she died, what you're talking about, David, she said, it's so ancient. It's so ancient. You're living in the past. I said, yeah, mama, I am living in the past. And then in my studies, I found out the Most High said, if you do not return to the ancient path, you're never going to be delivered. Where's that at, Akika? You keep saying this, so maybe you should show us because you say this, but remember the rule is if you can't show it, then you shouldn't say it. And that's what I do. Often I think I say things because I want to be able to show it. I want us to get on the path of the ancients. And actually in my scroll, I usually would I would draw a picture of a path just so I wouldn't forget. Let me see if I can find it right quick. And then I'll let you guys go at that time. Let me see. Because I want to find so I can find it faster. He said that they have a path, but it's a path of, come on, where's it at? Um, Why you have it? You got it, Dawid?
I think it's in Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16.
Um, Jeremiah 6:16. No, this one was really this
Now,
one here is in Isaiah.
yeah, I was just thinking of the word Derek pad. I don't
Oh,
know what.
Derek, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I really want to show it to you because it makes it very clear that we have to be able to stay on um because he said if you return to the ancient path, um come on, Daweed. Uh hmm. It's hard because when you have so much stuff written in there, it's hard to see where you have, you know, I got so much writing. Let me see. Hmm, She said chapter yeah. Let me see. Um, Hold on, you guys. This is important. So let me figure it out here. Okay. Uh, oh, wait a minute. Oh no, you're right about that one, Akoti. That's not actually the one that I want, but it told you if you were to let's go look at it. She did say Jeremiah 16. Uh yeah, that's one of them. So let's go right here. Let's just bring up the one that Akoti Imiya brought up. Let's look at it and let's share it together. Um, so let's go. Let's go right here. So I'll just go to the Bible Gateway right there, 6 and 16. It tells you, it says, and here's all the different versions, but it says that thus saith Yahweh, stand in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your souls. This is a great one for us to understand, right? You're going to find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. That's what they said. We're not going to walk in that path. Mm-mm. Well, that was the point I was trying to bring out. But there's another one. Hopefully, I'll find it. But at this moment, there was actually one that was in the book of Isaiah that says that this was the ancient path, and it's an eternal path that we are supposed to walk on. That was my whole point. But we refuse to walk on that path, just like he's just said that they refuse to do that. And the reason why they're doing that is because they don't want to follow Yahweh's ways. They want to do their way. Hmm. So that's what we have to do. We have to be able to recognize the ancient path and ancient ways. Okay. Anyone have any questions before I let you go? Yes,
Yeah,
Kale.
Keith, I had a quick question. I just wanted to quickly go back. You were talking about in Isaiah 55, and I just
Hmm.
wanted to check to make sure my understanding is correct. So the man that you're talking about that would rule over Israel is David, and he's the one that's supposed to uh, have the responsibility of making sure that the people are following, the ways. After he passes on, because we know that we are still not going to be living on forever, but we will be living longer in those days.
Mhm.
I'm thinking that it's just up to his sons after him to just keep that responsibility going on
Yes.
for Israel. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. And so when he says they'll never lack a man, he's saying that, and which helps us understand about when they said that Christ is David's son, and that was the end, and he's the king, and we know that that's not true because Yah says that David's sons, and I need to show it to you. I'm not going to just tell it to you. People say stuff and then they don't show you anything, right? We don't want those type of people, and that's including me. I don't. If I say something, please tell me to go show it to you. I will not be offended. Please let me show you because, um, sometimes we're thinking that, someone might have the best intention, but they may be misinterpreting what he said. And we don't want to be those people to follow just what anyone's saying. So I'll throw myself out there. You got to challenge everything I said. So, Kel, this right here says that David's sons are going to be forever to go along with what you're talking about. It says this. It says, here's what Yahweh said, because we stopped at 19. It says, here's what Yahweh says. If you can break my covenant with day and my covenant with the night, because they're under a covenant too, by the way. So everyone that Yah deals with and he makes promises to are going to be covenants. Okay. So it's not just say, I'll make an empty promise. He said that if you can break that covenant I have with the day and what I have with the night, so the daytime and nighttime no longer come when they are supposed to, then my covenant with my servant David can also be broken. So he will not have a descendant to reign from his throne. Okay. Or Leviim who are Kohanim. So it says descendant, singular, right? So we're thinking, okay, one descendant. But people don't read any further. He says to the degree that the armies of heaven are past counting, talking about the stars, and the sand of the sea, which is the sand, physical, heavens, physical, I will increase the descendants, plurality, of my servant David, and the Leviim ministering to me. See? So it's not about one descendant. The only one descendant can sit on a throne at one time. But he's saying descendants. So David's descendants are going to number like the sand of the sea. They're going to number like the stars of the heavens. So they're always, and they're past counting. You can never count them. So how long is David's descendants going to sit on Yah's throne? Forever. Can you count the sand? No. So if you can't count the sand, you can't count the heavens, the armies of heaven. You cannot count the descendants of David, and you can never count the descendants of the Leviim. You can't count them. Do you understand? And then the word of Yahweh came to Yeremiah, and he said, hey, haven't you noticed that these people are saying Yahweh has rejected the two families he chose? What two families did he choose? Not Judah. He ain't talking about a tribe. He said family. Yah chose two families. One family is David's family, and the other family is Aaron's family. He chose them. He said, hence they despise my people. And they no longer look at them as a nation, because if you don't have a king and you don't have a priest, you don't have a nation according to Yahweh's plan. He says, here's what Yahweh says. Okay. No. If I have not established my covenant with day and the night to fix the laws for the sky and the earth, then I will also reject the descendants of Jacob and of my servant David, not choosing from his descendants, plural, people to rule over the descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. I will cause their captivity or captives to come back, and I will show them compassion, letting you know that if he's talking about the captives, then he has to raise up one of the descendants of David. And he has to raise up the descendants of Yaakov. And they are going to be forever, like it is for the stars in the sky and the sand of the sea, because that is connected to what Yah had told Abraham. He said that your descendants are going to be like the stars in the heavens. He said your descendants are going to be like the sand of the sea. They're past numbering and counting. Now, if that is the case, then we need someone to rule over them. And if you're ruling over them, then you're a nation. So you're not a nation without a king, and you're not a nation without a priesthood, because that's what Yah called us to be, a royal priesthood, of a nation, okay, of priests, a nation of Kohanim. And then he said, I chose David, his family. I chose Aaron. I chose his family. Those are the family I chose. Not the tribe. They're coming out of a tribe, but I chose that family out of that tribe. So you still see the daytime and you see the nighttime, like you saw yesterday and you saw today, then you should know that Yah says there's going to be descendant. You should also know that there's going to be captives that are going to be taken back out of captivity. He's connecting your return to the sun, the moon, and the stars. Everything's connected. Hallelujah. Imiyah, go ahead.
All right, what an amazing lesson. Thank you very much. So I've got two observations and a question, and please do steer me in the right direction with my observation. So the first one is, I kind of notice a pattern with our Creator where he's established a promise and that promise gets fulfilled. There is another promise on top of that promise to keep that promise kind of, progressing. So I think, and that's a wonderful thing about our Creator, is not just, okay, I have fulfilled this promise, that's it, done and dusted. He's always kind of trying to help build us up in the right path. And if only we can just be humble enough to be obedient and follow his instruction, that would be wonderful. And then the other observation with regards to other deities, particularly in Christianity, where 1 minute this JC character is meant to be one with the Creator, and then he's somehow now coming through the line of David, which both goes contrary to what the Creator has said. So that's just kind of confusing. I'm confused as to how people can overlook that and continue with such folly. But that's just my observation. Now, my question is regarding Isaiah. Sorry, not Isaiah. Isaac. So you're saying the meaning of his name is laughter. In the Hebrew
Yes.
to view, what does that mean essentially? What is there for us to take out? Because it seems like he was the fulfillment of the promise that Abraham and our mother Sarah, they could not conceive happening, and it happened. What was the point of naming him laughter? I'm just trying to understand how that's significant.
Sure. So that's a great question, and thank you for it. The significance of the name of him laughing is because the Most High presented Abraham with the proposition that he was going to have a son, and he laughed at the fact that Sarah was going to be able to have a child, and that he was too old. And so they thought that because they were old, and they thought because of their circumstances and their state, that it was impossible. It was completely impossible for this to be, because he's been trying all this time and nothing has ever happened. I mean, they've been husband and wife for years. Abraham was in his 70s when this was brought to his attention. And then finally, after some time, when he became 100 years old, the Most High told him a year before it happened that she's going to have a child. And he laughed. He just laughed at it. And then when the Most High brought it to Sarah and she heard it, she laughed. And so what he was doing, when the Most High said, you're going to name him this because Yitzchak is a reminder that you guys had laughed at my promise. And now you're going to laugh at it, not to mock it, because laughter could either be mocking or it could be celebratory. So when someone, like said Sarah, when she had the child, everyone was laughing not at her, but they were laughing with her. They're not laughing at her. They're not mocking her. So remember, she was mocked because she couldn't have a child, and now they're laughing with her because what it appears to be impossible. And it was also to something that was revealing about her and her husband's relationship. Because how did they have a baby? He's 100 years old and she's 90. So everybody knew at that moment that this had to happen. They had to be intimate. So the laughter has to do with the idea of intimacy between his husband and wife in such an old age. That's part of it. And when she was around nursing, he said, "This is funny because how can I be 90 years old as an old woman and I don't even have this desire in me?" She said that way of me wanting to do that is not there, right? So they had to go beyond what they knew. They had to go beyond what they understood at that time. So Yah wanted them to have that experience that he will keep his word, even in the state of it being impossible with them, because he asked the question, is anything too hard for Yahweh? So that's what the laughter is about. So when people are laughing and mocking you, because laughter again means mocking or not only laughing at you, but laughing with you. There are going to be some people that are going to they're laughing at you right now. You know, when you say that we're going to go and Yah's going to take us back and we're the people, they're mocking you. They're laughing at you. They're scorning you. Even people in your own family, Most High said it in the book of Isaiah, they're mocking you and laughing at you right now because of what you're saying. But there's going to be individuals when we get back to our land, we're going to be laughing and rejoicing at the fact that what Yah said was true. So every time you hear me laugh when I'm studying, I mean, that could be the fact that it's just hilarious to me that Yah's doing this. And I can see it. I literally can see it. And what you see, other people can't see. You understand? They can't see it, you know, but Yah brings it forth in order for them to see it. He doesn't want us to believe. There's no belief there. He wants you to literally see it. He's saying, then you'll know. They didn't laugh until they saw the baby. They didn't laugh and they didn't celebrate until they saw salvation when they came through the Red Sea. They didn't rejoice until they were delivered from their slavery with a mighty hand and outstretched arm. Yah doesn't want you to believe anything. He said, you saw what I did to Pharaoh. You saw what I did to them. You saw that I killed the firstborn. You saw what I did this. You saw that I fed you with this. You saw this. You saw me. Moshe said, you saw him hang everybody that was involved in the Baal pour. You saw it. You saw what happened to the Tan and what happened to the rebels. You saw it. You saw the fire that came out of the mountain. You saw it. You say today, I didn't see it. And that's where you're wrong. Because Yahweh said, you're going to wake up. You should be laughing at the fact that you found out that you're the children of Israel. And I mean, it's not a real laughing matter when you talk about the curses, but in some kind of way, it is kind of funny because he shows this to you. And this whole time you've been blind, like you don't even think about it. You're not even thinking. You weren't even 10 years ago. I was never, I mean, not 10 years ago, but 15 years ago. I wasn't about this. I was at somebody's church singing in JC, giving them my money and thinking I was holy. Now I'm seeing what he said. He said, you know, how people say, you see what I'm saying? That's the term that we use. You see what I'm saying? So if you can see what I'm saying, if you can see it, then you will know like, wow, Yah did keep his word. He did say, I'm going to wear you out. He did say, I'm going to do this to you and do that. Oh, he did say that. He also said, I'm going to wake you up. He also said it's going to come back to your remembrance. Well, if it's going to come back to my remembrance, that means that I was there. You should laugh about that. That, wait a minute. This ain't nothing new. It's new to you, but he said that you're blind. He said, you got ears, but you can't hear. We go over there. We just skip right over that. Oh, well, I do have eyes. I see. He said, no, you don't. You got eyes that you can't see. You have ears, but you can't hear. That means that something's blocked. That means that your soul is disconnected. And then Yah has to reconnect you. And so he starts talking to you again. And then all of a sudden, you just kind of wake up out of it. Just wake up out of it. Y'all start removing the scales off your eyes. He starts unplugging your ears. Remember what he told Isaiah? You remember what he told him? He says, go to these people. Go tell them what I said. He says, go talk to those who are blind. Why would you send somebody to somebody who's blind? Go talk to those, even though they can't hear you. Go talk to them. Go tell them what I said. How could they hear if they can't hear? How are they supposed to understand it? Yah sends people, and even when we're reading the Torah, have you noticed when you're talking to people? Have you noticed that you can read something to them and they still can't hear it? Have you noticed that when you show them what Yah said, he still can't see it? Why? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I try to get off, but I can't. I'm going to show you why you can't see. Okay? So you can't say Ikika said it. Let's see what Yahweh said. Let's see what Yahweh told Moshe to tell you and I. Okay? So you and I can understand it. Okay? Uh Moses or Moshe summoned all Israelites and said to them, your eyes have seen all that Yahweh did to Egypt, in Egypt to Pharaoh, to all his officials, and to all his land. You saw it with your own eyes. You saw the great trials, those signs, the great wonders. But to this day, Yahweh has not given you a mind to understand, okay, to understand, or eyes to see, or ears that hear. Why can't you see? Why can't the people that you're trying to tell them what Yahweh says, why hasn't they listened? Because Yahweh has not given them eyes to see. Yah has not given them ears to hear. But the New Testament says that blessed are those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. That's what JC said to his disciples. But obviously, if they would have saw what the problem was, they would have communicated it in their gospels and their messages and in their epistles, but they never did. Okay? So to this day, Yahweh has not given you a mind that understands. Okay? And he's not giving you eyes so you can see it. He's not giving you ears to hear. That's the reason why a person can't understand. That's the reason why a person can't see. That's the reason why a person can't listen or hear what Yah was saying, because Yah gave it to him. So what does that mean for you and I? Oh, well, check this out. He gave it to you. The only reason why you're listening to him is because he wants you to listen to him. He opens your ears. Is that not his mercy? So when he told you and I in our Torah portion, and I'll bring it up one more time, so you'll know that he's talking to you and I. When he told you and I in our Haftarah this week, he said to you and he said to me, where is it at? Did I get rid of it? I must have gotten rid of it. There you go. I'm back. I had to redirect it back to the place where we're supposed to be. In the book of Isaiah, I know the screen looks blank right now, but it's bringing it up. It's loading it. He told you and I, listen to me carefully. Yah told us in our Torah portion that I want you to incline your ear. Whoop. Incline your ear to me. And he gave a command. Oh, look at this command. What did he say? The command is Shemu. Listen to me. Oh, and live. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. It wasn't you. It wasn't me. It was his command that opened our ears. It was his command that said, spread out your understanding. It is his command. He gave the command for you and I to hear, and we're listening to Yah because he opened our ears to hear him. And then he makes a promise to you and I that I'll give you an everlasting covenant. I'll make an agreement with you, the same one that I told David. If he told David, you'll have descendants, David. They listen to my Torah, I will do this, and if they don't, I'll discipline them. But the throne is yours, and you'll sit on it forever. Yah turns around and said, I'll give you the same covenant, meaning you listen to me, you'll live. And when is he talking about living? He's talking about your physical body, he's talking about your soul. You'll be able to go again, regenerate again and again and again. The life of us is not bound in your time that you're here on the earth right now. It's been going. You'll continue to live. He won't wipe you out. You'll have descendants physically. You'll get the biological genetic material to pass your soul on to the next generation. But because you're listening to Yah, you're inclining your ear, it's because he opened you up to listen to him. You can't do anything unless Yah gives the command. You remember we studied last week, he says, man don't live by bread alone, but every word that comes out of Yah's mouth, whichever comes out from Yah's mouth, which is every command that comes from Yah's mouth. So you're only listening, and I'm only listening, and spreading our ears out to Yah because Yah said, spread out your ear. Hear me. Shimu. Oh, praise Yahweh. Not Shimka. Shimu. Shimu. So do you hear the Yitzchak in me? Huh? Do you hear the Avraham in me today? Do you hear the Sarah in me? Do you hear the laughter? I'm laughing at the fact that Yah, what he says is true. I thought it was impossible, but now I'm seeing that it's not. I'm seeing that it's his command. I just recognize this. That's why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because it's true. That's what I'm laughing for. I'm not mocking it. I'm laughing with it. I'm rejoicing in the fact that Yah gave a command. You and I would read this as a religious nut job and say, well, he just told them to listen. No, because they don't understand, because they're not working within the framework of being somebody that understands that if I don't listen to Yah, I will not be revived. I won't live. They've been sold a bill of goods because they've been following another God. They said, all you got to do is believe that I'm he and you shall live. Versus listening to what Yahweh says in obedience to the commandment of the Most High, then you get to live. And then Yah is going to make an everlasting covenant, which he said, an enduring loyalty that I promised to David. You and I can participate in what Yah said to David. And the people that are going to be under David's leadership are going to be the people that who inclined their ear to the Most High and who followed after the Most High. That's why that Ulakul right here is there. That's why the Shimu is right here. All these are commands. This is a command. This is a command. This is a command. If you notice, all of them share the U. That means you, plural. Ulakul, U, Hatu, U, all of that. That's all you, plural, all of you. Yah says you'll get the mercies that I shared with David. David was undeserving. David committed idolatry and adultery against the Most High. Idolatry and adultery is exactly the same thing. And Yah forgave him because he confessed. And Yah will forgive you and show you loving kindness. All you need to do is confess that only against you and you only have I sinned. If you need to find out what the recipe is, go to Psalms 51 and you'll find out what David said to the Most High. He said, if you spare me and you keep me, I'll teach other sinners not to follow the ways that I did. I'll teach them, Yahweh. I'll teach the sinners not to do what I did. Give me a sturdy soul. Give me a heart that's clean and purified. Give me a place in me that I'm not moved by every situation. I'm steady in my spirit. I'm consistent with you. Oh, praise be to Yahweh. Yah said, hearken unto me, and you shall live. Do you hear that? Am I the only one hearing this? Listen to me, and you shall live. So how could we listen if he didn't give a command for us to incline our ear and to come to him? So at the time of Deuteronomy chapter number 29, it said Yah hasn't given you ears to hear and eyes to see at this point, but now he has. Because it wasn't the right time. Because he knew at this moment you're not going to listen to me. You need to go through something. And we have. And that's why we're here today. Yes, Emiya.
I'm really pleased we're really talking about the weed, Father. And I was just sharing with my sons about why I think the Creator, one of the reasons why our Creator made that covenant with him. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he also had, whilst he was so flawed in his ways, but he had that tenacity to bring people, as part of the fact that he's a shepherd, that he had that quality to build a family, focusing on the Creator's law, especially where he made lots of mistakes and then he found ways to kind of rectify them. It was about the people turning back to the Creator. I think he was one of if not the one king who kind of paved that way in teaching how we turn back to the Creator, setting up the Lewi with the singing, the way they were supposed to carry the offerings and things like that. He was actually kind of performing that. There was no history about him being taught by his father Jesse, but somehow he had that desire to get the people to follow the Creator's path. But that was kind of what I was thinking anyways.
Well, that's the truth. That's absolutely 100% true. So Dawid is Dawid, his whole desire was to cause the people, because remember, he's a shepherd. So Yah got him when he was a little boy, and he had a heart, and it said he had a heart after Yah. What do you mean a heart after Yah? A like heart like Yah's. So what is Yah's heart like? Yah's heart is a heart of compassion. It's a heart of mercy and loving kindness, a heart of order, right? And Yah wants to direct his people. So he chooses an individual that their desire is to lead his people. He has to have a mind like Yah, and Yah's mind is based on the law, and it's based on the commandments. And it's based on one pouring their soul out to the Most High, not just their offerings. It's the soul. So when he talks about pour out the blood, he's talking about pour out the life, and you pour it on the altar. So when you talk about, when you go to Yah, Yah is interested in us pouring out ourselves, our lives to him, because we are those people. So when Yah designed humanity, he designed us as individuals to say, I'm going to be the one that has to pour out my heart to you. And I'm going to teach other people how to do the same. You can't praise Yahweh when you're angry. That's something I want you to remember. You and I can't praise him when we're angry and we're in a state of being upset, because it changes the frequency. Yah won't receive any praise from us. Now, we can't worship and serve him while we're in our exile, but you can praise him. So you have to be able to pour out your soul to the Most High, because that's what those offerings are talking about. When they're pouring out the blood, they're pouring out the soul of the animal, a soul of obedience, a soul. And now how do we pour our soul out? We pour our soul out by listening to the Most High and giving our will and our desire over to him. When he talked about how your soul is going to desire meat while you're in your land, your soul desires this, or so the desire is to lust after or to be thirsty. And so there's a negative connotation, there's a positive. We can turn around and take the negative connotation about our lust and our desires of our soul to do that which is wrong, and we can turn around and switch it and put it into something positive and make our thirst and our desire to be towards the Most High. And so David is the one who's going to teach the people on how to do that, and it starts with him. He has to be willing to do it himself in order to be the Nagid, in order for him to be the prince, of the people. He has to be that example of pouring himself out. That's what he has to be. It's not being just to quote the laws of the Most High. It has to be one who understands what they mean. And what they mean is their examples, their teaching tools. And so the shepherd gives the instructions to the sheep and based on his experience. That's why he's capable of leading them because he's had these experiences and he's overcome the challenges like you see with King Dawid. So one of Dawid's descendants is going to have that same type of mind, that same type of lave, that same type of inner authority. Because the Most High said, who can approach me? Who can approach me? Who can guarantee his heart towards me to do such a thing, to want to take this responsibility? It's only one who's guaranteed his heart enough to come to the Most High in the method and in the manner that the Most High said. Dawid's descendant has to be like Dawid, okay? And also, too, he has to be of Yah's heart, like Yah's mind. When it says he's of Yah's heart, he has to have the mind of Yah. And the only way that this individual can have the mind of Yah is he has to give his mind over to Yah. Okay, your Torah portion, one of our brothers put this up and he told me, he said, make sure that you put the Torah up, and it is of Deuteronomy, verse number 18. Let's see in a nutshell. Right here. Okay, so chapter number 18, the complete of it is chapter number 16, verse number 18, all the way to chapter number 21, verse 29. Okay, your Haftarah is going to be your additional reading is chapter number 51 of Isaiah, all the way to chapter number 52, verse number 12. And the Psalms is going to be chapter number 80, all the way to chapter number 99 in Psalms. Okay. So study 16, 18, all the way to 21, 9. And then during the week, kind of touch base in Isaiah. And what is supposed to happen is that not that you're looking for Isaiah 51 and 52 to tell you on how to interpret this, is just going to help support the theme of whatever is here. You're going to see some similarities here. Okay. We don't need this. You don't need that in order to understand this. You don't, because you're not supposed to use Isaiah to justify or to understand this. You're actually supposed to use the Torah to better understand this. It's the reverse. So religious people will use Isaiah to try to explain the Torah. You don't do that. Okay. What you do is you use and read Isaiah in light of the Torah. Sorry for something keeps happening here. So you want to understand the Torah first. Then you can then go to Isaiah to better understand Isaiah. Because the Torah is the foundation of everything. Isaiah is a prophet. And when he was talking to a group of people. And more than likely, he's sharing ideas that are found in this. Because the prophets had to know the Torah. David had to know the Torah. Everyone has to know the Torah. Ezra had to know the Torah. Nehemiah had to know the Torah. Jeremiah, they knew the Torah. So when they were talking, they were saying the words that Yah said, and Yah would connect what he was telling them to say, when you read the Torah told you this. And this is the reason why you're having these problems right here in Isaiah. It's because you didn't do this. This is the focus. The focus is on the Torah. The prophets are not complimenting the Torah. They're not. The focus is on the Torah. So you don't need the New Testament. You don't need the prophets. You don't need the Psalms. You don't need any of that. The Torah is do not add anything to what I said right here. Don't take what you read in Isaiah and try to apply it to the Torah. Don't do that. You just look and you make a comparison. So what did Isaiah say? What did the Most High tell Isaiah in light of who he's talking to? What does the Torah say? Because Isaiah had to understand the Torah because Yah won't use the Torah to, or he won't use the prophets to supplement the Torah. The prophets, when they talked about the Torah, they talked about what Most High told Moshe, and that's it. So don't get it confused. Don't use the Psalms to support the Torah. You don't need that. The Torah is a standalone. This is a loan. Period. You know, what you could do is look for the laws that are found in 51 through 52. The laws of the Torah. See if that talks about the law. But you're not using that as an authority. The authority is the Torah. This is the authority. Deuteronomy is the authority. Isaiah is not the authority. Isaiah will lead you back to the authority. So when you read this, look and say, okay, what's the law say about that? You can see, well, they violated the law. Or someone didn't do something they supposed to. So why did y'all have us read that? Because he's trying to show you something about the Torah, how it was violated, how it wasn't kept. Okay? There you go. All right.
Shavua Tov, Akika.
Good Tov. Much love and appreciation to all of you. You guys have a wonderful week. And I'll see you in the next one,
Shabbat
God's willing.
shalom.
Shalom.